Hey everyone, welcome to Tales from the Silt Expanse, Rise of the Veiled Alliance, Episode 3. So, what's happening today? Well, at the end of the last episode, if you recall, our party had just reached the last port before their trip out into the Silt Sea, and right before they planned to leave, something had just started to go horribly wrong. So, with that in mind, let's meet our players, get some initiative rolled, and see how they do in their first big old fight. So, hey everyone, good to see you.
Hello.
Starting.
Hi.
There we go. Starting on my right, which is going to be very hard for everyone to understand. Bree, would you like to introduce yourself? Give your name, your pronouns, your character's name, their pronouns, and a little bit about what they're up to.
Yeah, so my name is Bree or Brito, and my pronouns are she, they. And my character's name is Kita, and hers are she, her. Right now, she is speaking to the lizard folk and just making some friends. And she is trying to understand where they're coming from, and she's just being a socialite. So that's what's going on. Little does she know that things are going like really bad. So it's fine.
This is what happens when you skip an episode. This is what happens. You don't know what's going on, and suddenly you're walking into carnage. That's just where we're going to be. Great. Thank you, Bree. Don?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Don. He, him. I am playing Gulag. He, him. A half giant with a heart of gold and a gigantic axe. And he didn't axe anybody last episode, and I'm hoping that might go differently this episode and protect his friends. He's starting to.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is all for you. You know that, right? Like, you DM all the time. Now you want to do a big old combat fight where you get to hit things. I understand. I respect that. DM to DM, and thus you're welcome. Everyone else will die.
Thank you.
Cool. Good. Say hi.
Boy. Hi, everybody. I'm Cord. I prefer he, him, and so does Kronqual, my character, who is a psychic warrior. It's a pretty cool build. I'm excited. It was an Unearthed Arcana. I think last summer? 2019?
Ages ago.
Oh, something.
Ages ago.
Anyway, super cool. I really am enjoying a lot of what he can do, and I really enjoy telling how that class can be a character, which I'm having a lot of fun with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say. I'm excited to probably die today. That'll be cool. Yeah, I think dying would be an awfully great adventure. Awfully big adventure.
Oh. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, I dropped it. Well, that's right. That's the important thing. Yeah.
Right.
Say hi, Kiana.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kiana. I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing Rickus, who uses they, them pronouns. They are a Tari rogue, who is extremely hyper, generally doesn't really know what's going on, but is along for the ride anyways, and chaos in a little tiny package. So we'll see what happens, because they could easily run away, they could try to fight something, or they could just do something completely different, and I don't know what that is yet. We'll find out together, I guess.
So will the rest of your party. Yes, I think so. And Toby, say hi.
Hi, I'm Toby Osmond. I usually go by he, him pronouns most of the time. My character Rysar always goes by he, him pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Sorry, I was sending funny jokes in the group chat to Don. What else do you want to know? I don't know. I'm on a ship.
Introduce
I've got
your
some
character.
dastardly Rysar. Well, Rysar's got some dastardly plans.
Toby.
Hey, I get over here.
I'm going to use my
Good,
politics
I'm glad.
skill.
Yeah, that's right. This is the perfect moment for your politics skill, fighting a Silt Horror in the last port harbor. Anyway, let's get a nice bit of intro going. So, at the end of the last episode, Rysar, Gulag, you had stepped off the ship in the middle of the night when the Sirocco, your strange silt ship that seems to float above the silt with beautiful pink, almost gossamer insectoid-like wings, but still kisses the sand as it flies over the top of it. You managed to make your way around Last Port and sampled the local drinks, which were poor, and met some of the locals who told you all that your ship is cursed. Hooray! Definitely no problems there. And as the two of you came back and settled down for the rest of your rest, you were confronted by the harbour also playing host to the gigantic ship of House Tomblador, the Pride... What's it called? Pride of the something. The Pride of Tomblador. Should have guessed, really. They're very big on their name. So yeah, the Pride of Tomblador, this humongous sea silt skiff, almost squared off, so big is it, with cannonade of all kind arranged across the top deck. The High Praetor of House Tomblador, whom some of you might be aware of, Praxis, then stepped on board the Sirocco to let you all know, under no uncertain terms, that he's perfectly aware of your mission to go and find Caesar and maybe stop him from returning to Balak, and made very clear his intention to bring Caesar back and asked you all not to interfere. With that in mind, as I described at the end of the last session, heading towards the harbour at an incredible pace, its roiling hooked tentacles occasionally peering over the top of the silt, a gigantic Silt Horror is currently barreling its way towards the last port, seemingly connected, obsessed, interested in the Sirocco. However, none of you are aware of that. None of you can see it yet. Keita, you weren't here last session, so throughout the Sirocco's journey from Balak to the last port, a journey of maybe 6 hours, not very long at all. This ship, where other silt striders tend to have to grind their way through the silt, the Sirocco glides over the top very quickly, and it certainly seems that one of its biggest assets is indeed its speed. While the others were talking about unimportant things like the plot and where to go and what to do, what were you up to? You were having a quite engaged conversation with Talak, the lizard folk crew person. She had greeted you on arriving on the ship and engaged with you about who you are, and certainly was asking some questions about you and what you do. Would you maybe have found somewhere quiet to sit and talk?
Yeah. So I probably took her to the side, and we're probably just watching the sea as we keep going. So the last time, if I remember correctly, we were talking about, I guess, some deep stuff. I think because she was asking me about my family and where I come from.
She was.
Yeah.
She's very cutting. If you are having a more in-depth discussion, and as you stand on the deck of the Sirocco, you note as it is traveling, this is all happening in the past, but yes, you note as it is traveling, because it flies above the surface of the silt, when it turns, it banks quite steeply. So as it turns on the deck, there is a very ooh, if you don't hang on, you're going to go flying off. So that will probably turn to you and go, if you want to have a proper conversation, best to do it off the deck. At least there's no chance of falling off in the middle of an important chat.
That's fair. I guess lead the way.
Chalak will guide you down the stairs, where there are a series of hammocks strung up, and one deck below is what looks like a gun deck. There are 4 ballista set up, poking out of various portholes at the side. Looking at the floor of the gun deck, fascinatingly, the ballista all appear to be on treads, on runners, but they appear to be locked in. The base of the ship has various sort of wooden interlocking, almost like rail tracks that these appear to slide along to point out of various portholes at various angles, probably to keep them secure as the ship tends to move around a lot. There are more stairs going down into the bowels of the ship that look like they're going more towards the technical. A lot of it, there's a definite whiff down there of grease and oil and the kind of thing you'd expect from a ship with a lot of moving parts, especially these beautiful gossamer wings that it has. However, Talat guides you towards the prow of the ship. Now, the decks are actually split because the front half of the ship is all storage space. But as you move to the front, you can see that there is a small, almost like cubby corner in the gun deck where Talaka seems to have set up a space to sit. There's obviously not a lot of privacy on board a ship of this size, so Talaka guides you over to a couple of crates. They appear to be sort of set in a way that implies somewhere to sit and chat. And this nook, this cranny that she guides you to, she sort of gestures for you to sit and sits down herself and goes, "Right, I'm not on deck, I'm usually here, so if you're looking for someone to chat to, I'm your lizard."
I appreciate it.
What were you saying? I'm sorry. Just wanted to keep out of the way, and also seemed like a conversation maybe less for prying ears.
I don't know. I guess I'm just curious on how you sort of became the captain of the ship.
Not the captain. No, the captain's up on deck. Captain's a flying bird person, but they don't tend to come down much. They're not the most talkative, if I'm honest with you. They tend to be more of the get it done variety.
I can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, they're very practical. We don't have official job titles, the rest of us. To a certain extent, Zeph's here as like liaison. If there's any guests on board, so you'll probably encounter him soon enough. Corvus works for the Sirocco. Corvus has a direct relationship with the ship, so that's a different conversation altogether. I guess if you had to put a tag on me, I'd say General Dog's Body.
Can you go into detail about that? What exactly does that mean?
Job needs doing, I do it. Zeph's not fantastic at the hauling, the lifting, the pulling, anything like that. And Corvus is permanently stuck to that bloody musical instrument. You can hear throughout all of this, the hurdy-gurdy being played on the deck is still being played almost constantly. Same tune over and over and over and over again.
So does it just become background noise? Like, I knew there's probably like a day you were just like, it just, I don't know.
The Sirocco likes it.
Yeah.
The Sirocco likes it, and the Sirocco effectively protects all of us. So from a certain extent, you first grit your teeth and go, I'll get used to it. Then you realize what the ship is and what it can do. And then you go, you know what? Maybe that's the way it is. And then after a couple of years, you become so used to it, it just goes away.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, I guess.
Sure.
I guess I'll just go ahead and say it how I'm thinking it. When you find a new group of people and you kind of get thrown into said new group of people, how exactly would you react on the trust front of everything? Do you keep your distance, or do you,
Now, that is an intriguing question, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you get more out of people the more you give them. The more you say to them, the more they'll say to you. Trust goes two ways. On the other hand, people are shit and sometimes they fuck you over.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if the people you're traveling with, anyone in particular stand out as you as like a person you might be able to confide in?
I mean, I don't know yet. I really don't know yet.
Can you roll me an insight check?
Yeah.
Of the people that you have met?
Yes. That is a 14.
14. Okay. Rysar is clearly, like, you have history with people like Rysar, and specifically Rysar's position. So there's an amount of that you can take with a pinch of salt. He also doesn't seem to be that interested in being that close to Caesar, so even though he may be somewhat difficult for you to get to know, he is also potentially on the same side as you. So politically speaking, that might work, but he doesn't seem particularly trustworthy from the off. Although you can tell immediately from looking at him that the large giant trusts this person implicitly. And the large giant seems to have, despite being big and tough and quite dangerous, a definite softer side, a warmer, calmer streak. And he trusts Rysar. Therefore, maybe if Gulag trusts Rysar, you should too. Or maybe you could trust Gulag, although Gulag is a half giant. Gulag's huge. Gulag's scary. And you've seen Gulag literally bisect a man, just in one go, just clonk, one strike and done. Like it was a lot. So, yeah, I think there's an element of that you could potentially see as that person's nice but scary. Rickus, you don't know very well yet. You've encountered. But Rickus also seems to, the focus seems to shift, seems to wander. You're not quite sure where they're at, whether they're coming, if they're going. So there's a certain amount there of, could I trust this person? Yes. But would I be able to trust them tomorrow? Even more so or less so, depending on the day, and you wouldn't know necessarily. And Cronqual seems the calm, solid, stable center of all of it. And as with a 14, probably the most likely to take everything very cleanly and precisely, and might be a good first port of call. And also seems to know Rysar and Gulag quite well. Ergo, could give you the down low and the 411 on if they are trustworthy or not.
Okay.
That's what you get with a 14.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
Want a drink, by the way?
Sure.
She reaches behind some of the crates and cracks one open and pulls out a bottle of very dark, clearly alcoholic liquid and goes, be careful with this one, and it's got a kick, and hands it over to you.
What exactly is it?
Combination of cactus and scorpion.
Scorpion?
Bit of venom. Keeps you going.
Okay. And Kita kind of like sips a little bit of it, and she's just like, yeah, it's a kick. Oh.
Roll a con save. You knew it was coming. You knew.
23.
It's got a kick, but you're like, yeah. It's just
Burn.
burns. Good
Yes.
bud. Good
My rogue blood.
Talak is also lighting up a pipe and just sits there.
So,
Right, so
I have another question. I have so many questions. I feel like I can just talk to you about things, I guess.
people often do.
Yeah. Do you know any, I guess, information about this man named Caesar?
Only by reputation.
What have you heard?
Leader of Balak. It's funny. Caesar is referred to as this like all-powerful uber, like there's definitely some magic, and magic's bad, you know? So strange. Like fear is a big word. I would have thought up until recently someone too big to fall. And yet, where is he now?
Yeah.
So, once again, even the mightiest fall, it seems.
That's very true. Well, before I cut you off,
But, you know.
my apologies. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask you what got you caught up with a bunch of reprobates like this, because the others seem to know each other or work together or have some kind of, starting point.
Connection? Yeah. I wish I could say the same thing, but I was sitting at a bar minding my own business, and suddenly Rickus, the rat, he they actually kind of came up to me and they dragged me out of a bar with their brother. So now I'm here.
Well, I mean, that sounds like the start of every good friendship.
I wouldn't use friendship. That's a strong word right now. More like a, oh, I think they actually used the word bodyguard at one point. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, you seem the bodyguard type.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Strong, silent.
Fair enough.
As you sit here drinking with Talak, can you make me a wisdom saving throw, please?
Yeah. Just a second. All right. That is a 9.
As you're sat here, sipping this drink and having this conversation, you realize that you're feeling drowsy, and you're feeling drowsy quickly. You're not quite sure why this sense of drowsiness has overcome you in the way that it has. You wonder if it might be the booze, but you're used to booze. You're used to drinking. You're used to drinking quite a bit. And this isn't affecting you like that. Not like a poison or anything. It's not like something you've ingested. Something's happening in your head. It might be the music. It might be the smoke floating around you. It might be just the conversation you're having with Talak, but something is off. Something making you feel drowsy.
Okay. Could I try an Arcana check, maybe?
Sure, if you like.
If I can sense anything.
I would recommend making it a nature check over an Arcana check. Same mod. So.
Okay. Oh, I sense nothing. That is a 5.
You don't know what it is. You don't know what's happening to you or why it's happening to you, but you are starting to close your eyes and lull slightly. And as you do, you see Talak reach a hand over and just like touch the side of your face strangely. And as she does, you blink. And it's hours later. You're awake. What just happened? What's going on? And you can see sunlight streaming in through the portholes, like a whole night has passed, and you have no idea what happened.
I don't like that. Not a fan of that. Okay. So do I just kind of put it together that I was obviously something happened. Okay.
Something happened, but you don't know what happened. You don't feel like nothing happened to you. You are still you. Nothing about you has changed. But you were basically put to sleep for a long amount of time in a way that you don't really understand how it was done. And it's certainly a strange moment. And looking around, Talak's nowhere to be seen.
Okay. So can I? And I'm still in the same area that we were in, where we were talking and everything, right? Okay.
Looking around, it's just a couple of crates stacked up and moved around. Like, it's not. There's a nook element to it, but it's not. Yeah, something about it is very strange. Something about this whole situation makes you feel a little bit weird.
Okay, so I'm just gonna walk up to the deck then, because I don't necessarily want to be by myself at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk up.
As you walk up from the gun deck, the next half deck up is the sleeping quarters, and as you walk up into the sleeping quarters, let's see, Gulag, Rikis, and Rysar, you are exactly where we left off. You are just stepping down, just discussing Bronquil needing to hide because of House Tomblador's presence there, as Kita re-enters the space with all of you. Just steps up and out. And you haven't seen Kita for, a good, like the entire evening. Kita stepped on board the ship and vanished.
I'm trying to remember. Kita's introduced herself to everybody, correct? Like by name.
Yeah, she has. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, Kita. So there's this House Tomblador ship over there, and they have told us that we are not to continue on our mission. Wait a second. Did you go into town?
No, I've been here the whole time.
Gulag,
Well,
Rysar, Rickus, as you're all here in this conversation, roll me intelligence or history. It can be either or.
oh, good. Cool. A 12.
Well, that's very Gulag, isn't it? Rysar?
Pretty good, really.
A 12 as well.
You're kidding with your modifier.
Yeah.
Wow. Rickus, what you got?
I actually got a 17. Look at me go.
Well, there we go. Good. I lowballed it for the smart character, but no. Right. So, Gulag, Rysar, you remember coming on board the ship with Kita. You remember stepping on board the ship, and you remember her stepping to one side. You don't remember, was she speaking to a crew member? You're not sure. You can't remember. Rickus, you have a very clear recollection of what happened when you all stepped on board the ship. And now that you think back on it, it was kind of odd because you all stepped on board the ship and Kita stepped to one side as if speaking to someone. And you try and recall, but you can't remember anyone being there. And yet at the time it didn't seem weird that Kita stepped off to one side and spoke to... No, it's gone. You can't quite fathom. There was definitely someone there. There was definitely someone Kita was talking to. You remember like the shadow of a person, but you can't specify a face. You can't specify anything about this person at all. All you have is this strange feeling that Kita was talking to someone and then stepped down below the deck, and you haven't seen her since that point.
Yeah, so I think as all this is going on, like Rick is just like fiddling with something and just goes, "We're talking with someone. I don't know who you're talking to. You were talking to someone. Maybe you're talking to the ship, right? You kind of did a thing. You stepped off. You talked to someone. I don't know who you talked to though. That's really weird. I usually know what people look like when you talk to them. And then you just went downstairs, I guess, and then didn't see you until now. You were talking to someone, right?
Yeah, her name was Talak. She was one of the lizard folk. She had a pipe and she kind of looked a little intimidating.
None of you remember this person.
Oh,
Great.
no. I think I need to tell you all right now. When I was in town, I was told this story, and this ship is haunted. It's cursed. Rysar, do you think it could have been a... And you can see that Gulag as he's like, he's very tall, but like he's gotten smaller as he's continued to talk, and he looks over to Rysar. Do you think it could be a ghost?
I do know full well that ghosts exist. However, not in the way you fear, I believe. Good friend Gulag. Don't worry. What I do want to bring to everyone's attention is anyone listening in, Chris? Any of the crew?
You can't see Corvus and you can't see Zeph. In fact, there's no bunks for them.
I knew the bunks were suspicious.
There's no hammocks for them. They're not here. They were never here.
We're on
Oh,
a
well,
ghost ship. Nice. I pay no attention to that because I haven't really. What I would like to draw everyone's attention to is the fact that I saw last night a bump in the silt, and as though there was a creature under the silt, and it was following the ship move for move. And I asked the captain about it, and they claimed it was a silt wave, which I assure you it was not.
As Rysar says, I assure you, it was not. From the outside, you start hearing, and suddenly there's shouting outside. Indistinct, you can't quite get what the voices are saying, but outside is now a hive of activity. Cronqual, make sure you could hold that thought. Cronqual, from below deck, you can hear this too. You have ensconced yourself in the machinery of the Sirocco, and you've locked yourself in tight down in the very base bowels of this ship as a no one can see me now kind of staying out of the way. You also hear shouts from up above, and something is very clearly wrong. Is there anything in particular that anyone would like to do? Rysar, you want to run onto deck? Anyone else? Anything in particular you want to do? Sorry, Rysar.
Am I waking up from that vision that I just had?
Yes, the vision of the hooks, the vision of all of this dragging through. Yes, you have seen what is coming.
I think he opens his eyes. I think he opens his eyes, and then his limbs start to come out of the shell that was kind of wedged between the two wooden panels as he tries to squeeze out of the panels he's in, and then tries to retrace his steps back upstairs. In a bit of a panic with his eyes wide.
Okay, so Cronqual's making his way up from the lower deck up through the gun deck to the crew quarters. Rysar was heading up onto the top deck. Gulag, what are you doing?
I think Gulag probably kind of shakes off his shivers a little bit, and as Rysar's heading up, looks over to Kita and says, Rysar could probably use some extra help. He's not very good looking after himself. You're strong, right?
Sorry, I thought you said he's not very good looking and that was it. Like, that's what you were going to leave it.
I guess I can help him.
Are you heading up as well?
I'll be there too. We're just,
Ricketts, you going with, or are you waiting for Cronqual? You don't know that Cronqual's coming.
Yeah, going up for sure.
Ricketts, are you going up as well? Are you waiting? Are you? Do you want to head up to the top deck? You going with?
Oh yeah, Ricketts is absolutely just heading up, scurrying.
As you see Seren just like not coming with you, is just sort of going to shy back and try and stay out of the way, which is quite a normal.
This happens. This is normal.
Yeah. This is
Ricketts
normal.
goes ahead and does something dumb, and Seren stays behind and hides out.
And sorts out the mess when it comes to it, yes. Right, so the three of you heading up to deck. Cronqual, you're just heading up the stairs, like making your way up, trying to work out what's going on.
Yep.
Right. Rysar, you're out on deck first. As you run up and look out, the Pride of Tomblador, across from the Sirocco, there are roughly 30 to 40 Tomblador militia, people in quite ornate armor, not a lot of metal, but certainly a lot of ornate pieces, all shouting and pointing to your right, which is out of the harbor, out of the port. And if you look to your right, you can see where they are pointing. A huge wave of silt is just rolling towards the port. And looking at this wave of silt, you can see tentacles, hooked tentacles, just growing out of the front of this wave as it just moves towards the harbor. There's a couple of ballistae being fired from the Pride of Tomblador. They're just range finding, trying to hit this bow wave, and you see them fly over towards this wave and just disappear into them. You have no idea if they've hit anything. You don't know, but this wave is coming for Last Port. Kita, Gulag, Rickus, you're all stepping up onto deck. As Rysar, do you say or do anything?
Oh.
Lovely. Cronqual, as you move your way up through all of this, you takes you a bit longer, but you do also manage to arrive on deck. You can see your friends in front of you all looking out to the right, just wide-eyed staring. Anyone doing anything in particular?
Had a vision. He's just kind of is panicking because I don't think he's probably ever seen this. But I think he made his way up to the center of the main deck, and it's just now just in that moment of like unsure what to do.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, let's do it. I think for a combat this size, I need everyone to roll initiative. So please roll me initiative, and then let's see how this goes.
I got a
5.
Oh!
It's probably not a 3.
Okay, hang on. So we got a 5 for Gulag. Everyone else just shout them out. I'm using an initiative tracker, so.
4.
Wow. Yep. Wow. Okay.
I go last anyway. Initiative means nothing.
17.
17. There we go. That's an initiative roll. Anyone else?
Excuse you.
22.
Wow. Perfect. Thank you. Rickus, last to go.
17.
17 as well. Brilliant. Kita, Rickus, what are your initiative modifiers?
I have a +3.
3.
I have a +2.
+2. Right, so Rickus will go slightly ahead. Kita, good to know. Okay. Rysar, you go before everyone else does. Looking around you, the House of Tomblador, the Pride of Tomblador, the ship, it's not moving. It is humongous, and any kind of effort to move would clearly take it a huge amount of effort to do so, and a lot of people presumably moving the wheels or moving the silt. You don't know, you've never seen it move, you don't know how it functions yet. However, looking around, you can see the captain of the ship of your ship on the top deck is looking out and has a telescope out and is just tracking this horrible creature appearing out of nowhere. This bow wave, by the way, that it appears to be inside of and moving through is a good 70 to 100 foot wide. It's gigantic.
At the swell.
Does it look like it could consume the ship we're on with ease?
You are finding it very hard to gauge the size of the creature within the swell, within the bow wave. You can see various tentacles and bits sticking out of it, but you get the sense this could be like 100 foot wide, in which case, yep, one big go. But it's probably not that big. Like, if it was that big, it would probably show itself, and you're smart enough to know that this is probably a defense mechanism.
Right, okay,
now, you go
so...
before everyone else, and you go before anything else moves, any ships move, anything like that. Do you have anything in particular you want to do to prep? Anywhere you want to go? You know there's a ballista on the back, there's a gun deck below you could get to, but being on the deck of the ship now seems like a probably quite scary situation.
How far away is the Pride of Tomblador? Is it next to us? Is it...
It is literally next to you. It's about 10 feet away from the edge of the Sirocco, and it is blocking you in the harbour because it is so big. But it is also about 10, 15 foot lower in the silt. Like, it is a heavy ship, and it's not where the Sirocco is quite light and quite floaty. The Pride of Tomblador sits deep and low in the silt, and you can see looking down. It's almost like it's sunk beneath the silt. It's almost got like the level of silt on the outside, and then a wall, and then the level inside the silt strider, which is like a good 10 feet lower. That's how heavy it is and how deep it sits.
Okay. And the part of the ship closest to us, the Pride of Tomblador, are there many Tomblador sailors right there, or are they scurrying about? Are they distracted? What's the situation?
There's about 30 to 40 sailors might be the wrong word, but let's use it for now. There are about 30 to 40 of these people who are crewing the ship. And some of them are running around, clearly shouting orders at each other. There's a hive of activity. A good, 10, 20 of them are currently facing outwards towards this bow wave appearing and shooting ballista, shouting orders, pulling weapons out, getting ready to do business.
Yeah, I guess they're a bit distracted at the moment. Okay, what I would like to do is... do I think I would be able to jump from our ship to the Pride of Tomblador?
Sure, you... Are you sure you... Oh. It's up to you. You're the player. If you... Yeah, of course you can.
Across the wings?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, so what I'd like to do first is... I think the because I'm a first level scion, we have an ability which we can telepathically communicate with people within 30 foot, I think.
Yes. And talk action, so go for it.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is communicate with Gulag and say, I'm going to sort out us a chance of survival. I'll be back. Get the ship out. Bye.
Probably hear just an echo behind you if you're running off. You got it, boss.
I would like to use my action. Now, can I do, if they're not concentration, can I do, I want to disguise self.
Okay,
and I want to
as you run, you disguise yourself, that's fine.
Into a human tool with Tomblador house colours on. And I want to try and get to the other ship.
That is the right reaction. Yes. You start running, and as you run, your spell, it is magic you're using, yes, not... It is magic to disguise yourself.
Magic.
As you run, the magic swirls over you, and you become a very Rysar-looking, but not Rysar, human running directly, jumping over to leap onto the House Tomblador ship. It's quite a drop, it's 30 foot down. Roll me an athletics check.
It's lower, but a lot wider and huge, right?
It is lower, and it sits 10 foot under the level of the silt. It is a big old hefty, and it's basically square. It's huge.
They roll it on the bottom of the silt.
Yeah.
19.
19. Oh, okay.
Literally
fine.
sweating.
You take a running. What is your modifier?
+2.
Unbelievable. You take a running jump, and as you do, your image changing into this House Tomblador soldier, you leap and fall 30 feet. You only take half damage on the fall. So you only take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall and land quite heavily and awkwardly on the deck of the ship. It's 30 foot down. It's a long way down. As you land awkwardly, your your ankles slightly twisting as you go. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can, because I don't know about rules for 2 spells in 1 turn. But would I be able to do a featherfall just to be cool?
It's your reaction, so yes, you can. That's fine. You can featherfall. No damage taken. And you run and just float down, and just before you get down, you land lightly. Now, you need to roll me some kind of...
down slowly.
Exactly. Roll me a stealth check. And roll it with disadvantage because you are literally flying in.
Disadvantage?
You're flying in!
Yeah, I'm cool.
Everybody don't look at me! It's Mary Poppins.
Surely it would be just... Surely the giant monster would take away the disadvantage. Alright, I'm doing it. Well, look,
There
without
are crew running
disadvantage, it would
around
be
here.
13. But
With disadvantage?
with it is 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you fall down onto the deck of the ship, landing awkwardly, and as you do, a couple of House Tomblador, people running around here trying to get the ship started, a couple of House Tomblador soldiers and livery people are just moving around, and some guys go, "Are you all right? What happened? You jumped off that other ship.
Ah, yeah.
What are you doing there?"
Jumped off the other ship, mate. I just fell out of the rigging. Are you mad? You drunk? Look, get to the ballistas.
Toby, let me help you for a second. This ship has no rigging. There are no sails. It grinds.
I don't say that then, because I've got an intelligence
Exactly.
of 20. Unlike Toby
Exactly. I will let you retcon that. What do you say? Because there's nothing you could. There are sort of like towers on the inside of this ship, but none of them. The towers go up maybe 10 feet so that the ballista can stand on top and shoot over the top of the silt, not through it. Like that's what we're talking here. Yeah, exactly. So there's not a lot of places you could have fallen off that distance.
Secret mission from Praxis, mates. Mum's the word.
Performance check. Or deception check, I don't mind.
I mean, honestly, I'd prefer to do a social encounter, but I know it'll take ages. It's not the time at all. So,
well, hang on. In a social encounter situation, what would you be doing?
It can work.
Oh, I'd just be like, I'd be using my well-used use of words to beat down their willpower and agree that actually, yeah, of course that's reasonable. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, what would you use to do that? Because you're using poise rules, yes?
I tell you what, rather than because it could take a while, but what I could do is maybe do persuasion, because that's what I'll be using in the social encounter.
You have a social encounter system, so yes, if you can use persuasion in that case. A charisma-based check to convince them that you have something going on here that isn't who's this strange person who just leapt onto the ship. Yeah. That's fine.
Also, Rysar's feeling really cool about how he did that jump and land and stuff. So, don't get a 1, don't... 15.
15.
That's with the +5. What'd you get? Please say 14.
16. The guard looks at you with a secret mission on what that one.
Don't spread it round.
Who put from Praxis? Do you want me to take?
Hey.
Look. I don't know what's going on here, but look, there's something horrible attacking, and Key, I'll take you to the High Praetor. Come with me.
Okay, which way? I need to speak to him anyway.
And you are heading
start
towards
following him.
You're heading toward. This guard does not think you are. This guard is in two minds about you because it was such a close roll. This guard is taking you, but is also like hands-on weapon. Like is definitely keeping an eye on you. And it's taking you to the center of the Pride of Tomblador, where there is this sort of like miniature, like almost like miniature castle, miniature wooden fort inside the ship. That's clearly the command center, and it's not big, but you're being taken over to that, and you're being dragged in. Around you is a hive of activity. You can see a lot of people moving around, and as you go, you get some look at how this ship functions. There are ridiculously large silt wheels that seem to sit beneath the surface of the silt, and where they sit on the sides of the ship, there's what looks like a hamster wheel, and there's about 4 or 5 different people stepping into each of them and slowly starting to move around. And as they do, the whole thing you can feel is very slowly grinding and turning through the silt, and you start to get a sense of how the ship is going to move slowly but effectively.
Exactly.
As you're being dragged in as you're being dragged in to this central fort structure, we'll get back to that. On initiative count 20, the ships move. The Pride of Tomblador is very slow and is very slowly turning away. As it does, it's bashing into the Sirocco slightly because its turning circle is appalling. So the Sirocco is being sort of pushed back against the dock slightly, and all of you on deck feel a sort of slight rocking as the ship is moved back. You also all hear in your mind, none of that, none of that. And the ship slowly starts to float and is now floating slightly above where the edge of the Tomblador ship is, and the Sirocco is now floating slightly into the air. The captain calls down to you all, think it's time we're leaving. How do y'all feel about that?
We don't have Rysar. He jumped.
What? Why?
He didn't say really, but we should wait for him to get back. We stole.
Okay, I can move, but I'll stay close to the big one. But they don't like us very much. Just FYI.
No one care about my vision.
Yeah, well, I gotta figure.
Oh god, perfect. Okay. The Sirocco is lifting off the ship floater orb, allowing it to rise slightly, and as it rises slightly, the captain turns to you all and just shouts, we're too close to the dock to get the wings out. You need to help push us off. Get us out of here." And it's sort of gesturing over to the side of the ship next to the dock, where the ship is quite close to the side of the dock. It's been pushed in a little bit, and you can see where the wings unfold. It can't currently unfold without damaging them, and the ship floater orb just makes it float. Doesn't steer it, doesn't move it, it just makes it float, and it's now floating, but it's struggling to do anything more than that right now. Rickus, it's your turn. What would you like to do? Uncle can talk about his vision if he wants to. There's nothing stopping that happening. Talking is a free action.
Rick is first just trying to take everything in, all this information that's happening right now. There's so much happening right now, and like I think you can see their head just kind of like darting from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure what to do at this point. We're sort of
you have if you want in your head, you can hear the psychic voice of the Sirocco in your head going, "If you could help push us off from the side, if you maybe get one of the bigger ones to help you, that might be useful, or maybe grab a ballista in case that thing gets any closer."
I'm not very good at pushing things, so I'm going to go over there and go to the ballista.
If you run down back into the crew quarters and Seren's is there going, "Hey, what's going on?" You just run past, and
yeah, I think I actually grab him, and as I'm running past, I'm grabbing him.
Cool. The two of you run down to the gun deck, and you can see that there are these two ballista facing outward. The Tomblador that prior Tomblador has now moved slightly out of the way, and these windows are now showing out into the silt. And through these portholes, you can see this bow wave of silt just streaming ever closer, ever faster towards the ports. These ballista have a very strange mechanism to them, where there's almost like a chair built into the back of them that you can jump into, and if you do, there's various gears and levers in front of you that do various things. What would you like to do?
Oh yeah, absolutely getting to one of those chairs.
Awesome.
Probably getting Saren's help to get up.
In which case, Seren is also going to look at the other one and is going to basically get onto yours and jump across onto the other one to get into a firing chair as well. Rickus, roll me an intelligence check.
Oh, great. I'm great at those, obviously. What's that? That's a 10.
You don't know what any of these gears do. There's one on the left, there's one on the right, there's some in front of you, there's a sort of targeting sights in the front of you as well. What would you like to do?
I press the closest one.
You pull the gear on the right, and as you do, the whole ballista just starts sliding over the deck, and now is pointing out of a porthole facing the wrong side. You're now facing a stone wall right in front of you as the side of the dock is there, although the ship is now floating above. So you're pointing out over the last port going, well, this is the wrong way. You're facing away from everything else. Seren is also going to make an intelligence check. Yeah, and is going to pull the other lever and is now pointing out the right way and is just, hey, it's the other one. That's the lever from the side of the ship.
If this is from the wrong one, that's the right one, and like we'll switch.
Yeah, and you start moving, and you're also move like these ballista. They're sort of moving around like teacups in a teacup ride as you both sort of flying around the gun deck in these ballista chairs, trying to get them facing. You do end up both facing the right direction, though you cannot fire on this turn.
Great,
You are now
awesome.
both facing out and can see this bow wave of Silt Horror moving towards you. Kita, you're still on the deck. You can see all this happening.
Okay, before
Where's
I do
your-
my
where's your
action, before she does her action, she's gonna turn her Cronqual and be like, "What was your vision?"
I saw it was it's a big, horrible mass of flesh, and it has tentacles writhing and flaying hooks as well. And it was coming right to where we are. Right.
she's
Chris,
gonna
can you
run-
see the tentacles?
Yes, you can see some tentacles and hooks coming out of the bow wave. You can see, like, behind Cronqual, as he's explaining all this, you can literally see this thing appearing behind. Because Cronqual's not noticing, he's just talking at you while behind him, this thing is approaching.
She's gonna go straight to a ballista. She's so confused.
There are two more down on the gun deck, but they can't all face out portholes on one side. What I will give you is, if you start running down, if you're clearly going towards a ballista, you get in your head, you might want to take the one at the back. The ones below deck are already in action.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to that one as instructed.
If you run up onto the gun deck, and there is one ballista set in the back of the ship that's very clearly rear firing and designed to be rear firing. And again, it's this wooden chair you can sit in. It doesn't have this kind of runners, it just sits where it does. But there's a wooden chair with clearly sights and a kind of firing mechanism on the front of it. It's all made of wood, beautifully designed. Some metal pieces in there that will clearly do things like fire and move the ballista, but most of it is wood and intricately interconnected. As you step onto and sit into this chair, you can turn it, and as you turn it, you can face the direction of this bow wave, so you are ready to fire as well. You can take an action, so you could take a shot if you wanted to. You don't know if it's in range, you've never used one of these before, but you could take a shot if you want.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take a shot at it.
Cool, make me an attack roll with disadvantage, because it's slightly within long range, but not quite within range.
Okay.
Use your dexterity modifier on this.
Okay. A 3.
What's your attack roll? What's your to hit with your what's your general, like, what would you roll to hit with one of your daggers?
I would use I use dexterity usually.
Yeah, so if you rolled a 3, what would you add to that for your normal attack? Because it's a dexterity based weapon.
Oh no, my disadvantage was a nat 1 and I'm adding my modifier, which is +2.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
that's total. Sorry.
Hang on. What your dex modifier is a +2, and you also will add something for your attack roll. So what do you add for your attack roll generally? Like, what's your modifier on your thrown dagger?
My bad. It is.
Sorry.
All right, let me go to it. Okay, so usually it's a +2, so 2 more.
Okay, so +4. So with a +4 to hit, with a 3, you roll a 1. So yeah, you try and fire this ballista, but you've never used it before. And you just twing, and this bolt just goes flying out of this thing and just spirals through the air, but like miles away from anything you were aiming for. You just go, oh, okay, right. So you're starting to get a sense of how you can range find with this thing, but so far you've not hit anything with it.
Okay.
You can keep trying to make that work. Right. The bow wave moves. It was moving continuously throughout this time, but hey, D&D turn order. And as it moves forward, it's now within about 30 feet of the two ships. And as it moves forward, some of the silt starts pouring away, and you can start to see this creature within. It does have a central mass, a quite sort of thick central corpus, quite almost spheroid, maybe even with a certain amount of tailing behind it you can't quite see yet, but out of that central body, a horrific mass of tendrils, tentacles, some with suckers, some with hooks, some with eyes on them, is all flared out and is racing towards the dock. Gulag, Kronkwall, Rickis, Kita, you can all see this. It's not going for the Pride of Tomblador. It is very clearly heading straight for the Sirocco. And as it snakes its way forward, tentacles start to flail out in front. And as they flail out in front, who's still on deck? Gulag's on deck, Kronkwall's on deck. Perfect. Right. Let's see what happens. Gulag, does a 18 hit you?
I'm gonna spend my reaction before my turn to cast Shield, which makes my armor
What does
class
that make your
19. 19.
A tentacle, a suckered tentacle, comes flailing out towards the deck of the ship, and it's still 30 feet away. You think it can't, the tentacles are just starting to reach forward and reach across the top of the Sirocco, and the whole ship buckles slightly as tentacles slap on deck. One bounces near you. How does your shield activate? What's the activation of your spell? It's elemental magic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So like his hair, his ponytail begins to whip around, and I imagine like a couple of the braids just snap off, and like it's now flying back behind him as he just sort of rumbles in the bottom of his voice. And when he opens his mouth, a rush of wind comes out of his mouth like a tornado of wind that blows back, trying to hold off whatever's coming at him.
Oh my god, that is so fucking cool. Okay, yeah, you do, and this tentacle lashes out near you and gets caught in the wind and just blows away, dragged back. As it does, a second tentacle is going to try and reach out for Kronkwall. Kronkwall, does a 15 hit you?
No.
A tentacle, this time with a hook on it, just scrapes across the back of your shell, grinding against it, and it's probably left a sort of quite scarring indentation on the side of your shell. The rest of the attacks, you can feel these sort of heavy hits on the side of the Sirocco as it's now grabbing hold of the ship, trying to stop it, trying to grab hold of this elusive prey as it reaches out. That is the end of its turn, but it is now within range. Lovely. So, whose turn is it now? It is House Tomblador. So, on board the ship, from the Sirocco, they've seen that the creature's definitely headed not for them. However, they're still going to attack it. 5 ballista bolts come flying out from these almost strange-like towers inside this ship, because they need towers to raise the ballista high enough to see over the wooden wall and the level of the silt. So these appear to be on ground level for you, but looking closely, there's a 10-foot tower inside. And similar to your ballista, but nowhere near as detailed, nowhere near, there's a team of about 3 or 4 handling each one, firing, targeting, reloading after the shot, whereas yours appear to auto-reload in a sort of very clever, ornate way. 5 shots zoom out towards, and 3 of them sit in the side of this creature. There's a horrible shrieking bellow, and as the creature shrieks and bellows, the central mass opens, almost like a strange puckered mouth screeching, and inside is just circular rows of teeth going further and further back, and it's almost like there's row upon row upon row upon row, and you can't see the actual orifice itself, you just see teeth. It's teeth all the way down, and this horrible grinding screech sounds a bit like a creature screaming in pain, also a bit like bone just skipping over bone, skipping over bone, skipping over bone. It's a horrible, horrible noise catching all of you with this ear-splitting, terrible, terrible state. Rysar, you are currently being dragged. You see, like, the screeches, and you see the tentacles, and you can see the Sirocco, and you see some of these tentacles reaching out and grabbing it. And as they do reach out and grab it, you're being pulled away by this guard, who just looks up in horror at this creature attacking the Sirocco, but is still guiding you back towards this central fort. Are you going with, just running with, being taken?
Oh, yeah. I want to know exactly where. Can I see the High Praetor from where I am?
The fort in the center of this is literally a wooden palisade wall. Like, it has a fort built in the center of this boat. That's how big this boat is. And as you get to the edge of it, there is a gate that is open for you. And as you step inside, High Praetor Praxis is standing at a central table, gesticulating wildly, pointing at people, shouting orders. There's roughly another 5 to 10 soldiers around him, along with the one who dragged you in. And he's just, no, you over there, you over there. You need to make sure that's sorted, otherwise that won't work either. It's a bloody mess. And it's just shouting all of these orders, very pompous military general styly, just pushing and shouting and engaging with how all these pieces fit together. As that happens, you are being dragged in by this guard, and the guard's going to.
Well, I'm going, so I'm not really being dragged. I'm walking with him.
I see. You're with this guard. You're running. You're all running. Everyone is running.
Do I get to cast a spell because I've got such high initiative?
It's not your turn right now. You are being moved forward, and the guard is saying, "Hi, Praetor. This person leapt in off the Sirocco, said he was on a mission from you," and I returned, "What was going on?" and just stares you straight down.
Thank you.
What is your spell save DC?
Say again.
What is your spell save DC, motherfucker?
What they? Oh, yes, for the
investigation check.
Yes. 16.
The High Praetor looks at you. Who the devil are you?
High Praetor Praxis. I'm back. Thank you.
Back from where? What are you talking about?
Thank you, comrade. Is the other sailor sort of fucking off a bit?
You've got. That's all right. There's 5 or 6. There's 5 or 6 sailors, and they're all like wearing military garb, and these appear to be slightly better armored than the ones running around on deck. They appear to be commanders of some description. Are all talking to each other, doing things. There's about 5 or 6 of them. 2 or 3 are engaging with what the hell's going on here. Like, it's definitely some kind of issue. But yes.
Yeah. So I wanna sort of take advantage of the hubbub and the flurry, and go and I sort of trip over on myself a little bit and attempt to cast a spell.
It's not your turn, darling. It's not your turn, darling. If that's what you want to do on your turn,
yeah.
It's currently the High Praetor's turn, if you see. So you will, if you do I'm stumbling, and that's everyone around you is, what's going on? That's the point where that will hold, and then we'll see what happens in a second. Lovely stuffy. Right. So back in initiative order, on the prow of, on the gun deck, on this very high captain's deck, Sarkix pulls out this weapon that you saw before, this strange, like, long barrel-like thing, and just screeching angrily, fires it. There is a, like, harpoon-style shot that shoots out the front of this thing. As it goes, there is an audible bang and crackle. And as it goes in the air, it seems to shiver. And as it in the air moves and shivers, it shivers and splits into 3. And as it splits into 3 bolts, the psionic energy curling around them, 3 flaming heavy crossbow bolts go flying forward into the Silt Horror, casting Scorching Ray as a psionic ability. All 3 of those hit. 3, they all impact, and that shriek just gets worse as these horrible like singed burning patches just burst into the side of the Silt Horror, and this screech continues as it takes quite a bit of damage from that hit. And the captain on top goes, "Right, we need to go. We need to go now. Everyone, make it go." Right. Gulag.
So after Gulag fends off the tentacle that whips towards him, he
The deck is
stomps.
still covered in tentacles.
Looking around at all the tentacles. Would Gulag have a sense of? What type of Silt Horror this is, or
You
creature
have
this
never
is?
seen
Like
anything
maybe
like
if it has.
it. It is bigger and worse than any Silt Horror you have ever encountered.
Cool. Good. Yeah, so I think there's a moment where like he's tracing that tattoo of Silt
Mhm.
Horror wrapped around his back and his chest, realizing that this is different somehow. This is worse than what he might have anticipated. He's looking around at the different tentacles. How many tentacles are latched onto the ship right now?
Two are very clearly wrapped around the ship. One around the prow at the front, and one you can see snaking sort of beneath and lower, but you can't see where it is. It's clearly underneath the ship in some way.
Okay. That's the one he wants to go after, and he starts like picking up speed and charging towards that one. He draws his axe out from over his back, and it kind of glints in the sun for a few moments, and he is going to I mean, it's not wrapped around the top of the ship, or it is wrapped around the top of the ship?
Around the prow. It's wrapped around the very front of the ship. There's no figurehead on the ship. It's just a sort of facing forward, like, prow of ship. And it's the tentacle sort of curled itself around the front of that slightly.
Okay. So I think what he'll do is he'll just continue to pick up speed, charging for the front of the ship, and then just an overhead swing first at the part that's wrapped around the top to see if maybe he has a shot at cleaving this thing.
Go for it. Make me an attack roll.
Okay. It's a dirty 20.
Yeah, that hits. The tentacle is wrapped there, and you just slice into it with a big overhand chop. Roll me the damage on that.
Be 17, so 9 slashing, and well, I guess it's all slashing. This.
It's all slashing.
17.
Yep, it's an axe. It's all slashing. Yeah, your axe cuts down, and you cut through most of the tentacle with a 17. Like, there's bits of it still holding together, and there's a spray of thick, sort of greenish black ichor that just spatters across the front of you where this axe impact hits and where it squidges out. However, there's still a small part of the tentacle holding it in place. You haven't completely taken it off yet.
And he like scrapes goop off of his face and flicks it down with his hand, and then takes a step back. And this time he gets a running start, and he sweeps upwards, trying to, if he can't hew the tentacle entirely, maybe with enough force he can knock it off of the ship.
Okay, give me another attack roll.
And I'm gonna give this a. I'll make this a regular attack.
Okay.
13.
You try and slash and cut back up again, but you cannot cut this any deeper. It is thick, like it's almost rubbery, the texture of this tentacle, and it has a strange quality where even if, as you try and cut through it with the axe, it's almost like your axe is enveloped by it as it goes, almost like it's not quite real in places. There's a very strange, like almost part of it isn't real, which is a very odd feeling as you, what the hell, try and back swipe, but don't actually break the hold of the first tentacle.
Okay. Yeah, so there's that confusion as he pulls his axe back away, not sure why he didn't connect, why it didn't stick in. And he doesn't take like a full 5 feet back. He just takes a step back, and he starts pounding his chest almost rhythmically, and that wind begins to whip up around him again. His hair is like blowing straight up into the air now, and I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Zephyr Strike.
Cool. At the end of your turn as a legendary action, the tentacle unravels from the front of the ship, and instead of holding it now, just whips out and tries to grab you again instead.
All right.
Come on. Yeah! 21. 21 to hit.
That's
The tentacle unravels from the front and just grabs hold of you. You are grappled, and you take... Oh, it's good too. You take 13 points of bludgeoning damage as it grabs hold of you and just ties in. And you are now grappled by this tentacle. It's holding you instead of the ship now. But it is curling around you. Excellent. Perfect. That's his legendary action on your turn. Cronquil, you've seen all this happen. You've seen all of these things happen. What would you like to do?
I think at this point he kind of turns around and realizes, like, because he was facing, and then nobody alerted him that there's this thing, and so finally that tentacle that scrapes across his back, and he goes, and then turns around and sees this thing here. I think what he's gonna do, so it's right there in front of us, and it scraped my back. I don't know how a Cronquil would fight this thing.
In the ship, in your head, you do psionically get the voice reaching out again of, "If we don't kick off this dock somehow, we're never gonna leave."
Right. That was also a good call. So I will waddle over to the side of the ship and peer over to see what is holding us back from the dock, or what's holding us to the dock still.
Sure. As you move over to the side, the docking, there was a docking plank that was a gangplank, but that's fallen down into the silt now. The ship is it's next to the dock. Part of it is still very close to it, and you can see that where the wing would extend is blocked. It wouldn't be able to move out. It needs to be just pushed off the docks. You'd have to climb up down the side of the ship to do that.
I will try to... Is there any way, can I flash back to being down in the bowels of the ship where the wings were stored for maintenance? Yes. Is there a way that I would be able to crank them from there so I wouldn't have to leave the ship to push away? Like if we were to manually crank the wings so it pushes us off rather than
the wings themselves are extremely delicate and light, and if you use the wing opening, it would probably break them. Cronquil, I'll give you this for free. There's a rope tied next to the gangplank.
Yeah, he doesn't have a shitty strength, so I guess that's probably something we can do. But
if you wanted to say, swash that buckle and grab hold of that rope and swing down the side and kick off, you could get in the way.
I don't even. I don't know if he thinks with acrobatics first. You know what? Yeah, he does. What am I thinking? He will close his eyes like he usually does, preparing for battle. With taking his staff out and resting it under his chin for a moment, listening to the way, but only can hear the Sirocco saying, "We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." So I think that's probably when he. I think he turns and tosses his staff down into down the stairs a bit. And then I think he makes his way over towards the edge, does the scan, and then tries to climb down. I don't know if he'd swing though. I think that moves too quick for him. No, okay, let's swing. I'm just thinking how he's literally going to come in like a wrecking ball, and that's what I'm worried about. Is him just tearing into the wings. So I guess
the wings aren't open yet. The side of the ship is completely all of the material, everything is still encased inside. It's just wood on the side of the ship and these metal clamps.
Yeah, let's.
Mate, you do whatever you need to do. You do whatever your character would do. Do not feel bound. You can do this however you like.
We just have to be pushed off, and there's a gangplank that's broken. How far are we from the ledge? What am I?
You are literally standing. You are literally standing on the edge of the ship, and there is a rope right there for you to hang on to if you want to. What's the matter?
What he's going to do is
go.
And he jumps off the edge and then tucks his limbs inside, so he could then land just like a rock on the deck, and then come out and then start to try to push off of the.
Cool. Maybe it's just manually. Maybe an athletics check. Yeah. Maybe an athletics check. That's fine. No problem. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to use the dice that keep making. Ooh, that's not bad. 19. I did something.
Yeah. As you jump off, it's not a long way down, but you jump off and like sort of do the sort of you make the Mario shell noise briefly,
Yeah,
and as
exactly.
you do, you get up.
A plumber runs and
arms come
jumps
out
on me,
again,
and I
you-
disappear.
Okay. And you plant your feet and start to push and try and push it, and you realize as you're pushing it, there is not much strength required here. This ship is not
And it's already floating.
heavy at all.
Yeah.
With the ship floater orb in place, it has there's nothing holding it back. Like even you just putting a finger on it and means the whole thing starts to move out. There is clearly some stuff holding it in place. It's being grappled by the Silt Horror, but
Right.
you are able to give it quite a solid push, and the whole ship just starts to swing out. The stern just starts to swing quite wide, and as it does on the deck of the ship, everyone's just going around, and you're
Wait
still
a minute.
with the ropes. If you suddenly realize you're holding onto the rope and it, whoa, and you get dragged off the side of the dock, holding onto the rope, swinging off the side of the ship as the whole ship is now just
I think,
swinging, veering wildly out.
I'll do you one better. I think as it's swinging around, and I'm not holding the rope because he didn't choose the rope, but the rope still being there, I'm going to close my eyes for a moment, and I was going to say force pull, but I'm going to then grab the rope with the way, and then using the mage hand ability that I have because I'm a psychic warrior,
That is fine.
and then grab it and then hold on that way. Actually, I think I'm going to.
Flying off.
Instead of grabbing with my hands, though, I open my mouth and I extend my neck, and then I force pull it into my snapping jaws.
Amazing. Yes,
And then I go that way.
love it. Now, you're going flying off, just this neck and this shell flying
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
Awesome. Rysar, you have faked a stumble, faked a trip in this on the Pride of Tomblador. You wanted to cast a spell. What spell are you casting?
Suggestion.
Okay, and what do you suggest?
I suggest that the High Praetor comes urgently to the side of the ship, for I have information for him, and the only reason Rysar thought he could get away with this audacious plan was because he foresaw it in a dream that this spell would work. And I would like to use one of my foretelling dice.
Oh, no.
Praxis, or Pratt, as I like to call him, the High Pratt, to get a 10 against my spell save of 16.
Okay, can you narrate what happens as you stumble forward and roll me a sleight of hand check to cast a spell without anyone noticing?
Oh, 23! Oh,
23 on a sleight of hand check, yeah. No one sees as you step forward and just stumble slightly, and as you do it, Mystic passes just in front of you as a very quick move. What do you say? What's the bone part of your suggestion? How do you deliver this?
I say, High Praxis, you should come with me quickly. There is something I want to show you at the side of the ship. Quickly now! And I turn.
What do you... I suppose that seems reasonable. All right, fine. Hang on. Everyone, keep defending yourself against this terrible thing, and, make sure no one... Get the ship going! And sort of turns and stomps out after you. And, what is it? Where are we going?
And I head back to the side of the ship closest to our ship.
Well, as you and the High Praetor make your way towards the edge of the ship, you can look up and just see the Sirocco swing out from the dock, and you can see Kronkle just flying over the top of the dock. You can see Keita sat on the back, and from the portholes, just these ballistas just pointing out, ready to go, while Gulag is wrapped in one of the tentacles of this Silt Horror, being dragged nearly off the deck of this ship as it swings out. And that is where we are going to take our break. Come back to us in 5-10 minutes when we see where this situation goes. You bunch of crazies. Okay, good.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't ready for break. Hold on. Here we go.
Lovely. See you all in 510. Bye, everyone. And we're back. Okay, let's get this show on the road. So, if you're joining us now, then, oh boy. So, the Sirocco, your ship, is currently in the grasp somewhat of this gigantic Silt Horror, reaching out and grabbing parts of the ship and Gulag, as Kita, Rickus, and Rickus's brother Seren are on ballista, trying desperately to free this space. Rysar on the next door ship, the Pride of Tomblador, doing some kind of other mission that has nothing to do with anything you're doing. And at the same time, Kronkwall is hanging off a rope by his neck on the side of the ship, holding on for dear life as everyone moves off to one side. At the top of initiative, Rysar, you have just suggested to High Praetor Praxis to come with you to the edge of the ship. And as you are moving over with High Praetor Praxis, we move down an initiative order to the ship. As the Sirocco swings out wildly from the side of port, the captain turns and just psychically shouts in his head, and all of you hear this, "Now, quick, we gotta go!" And the wings of the ship start to slowly just unwind and unravel from the side, now with enough space to spread wide and start to begin to catch some semblance of air, some kind of way to move the ship forward. And the ship is going to start to move, start to bank and turn. It is still grasped by the Silt Horror. It is still not going to be able to move as fast or as far as it could, but it is starting to catch the wind. And as these beautiful gossamer sails spread out from either side of it, now not blocked by the harbor or by the horror itself, you can all feel this sort of almost psionic energy pulse as the ship starts to pick up speed, these wings clearly catching the wind and also psionically propelling the ship forward as it starts to drag itself out of the grasp of this creature and move away. As it moves away, the Silt Horror will take its second legendary action. Gulag. Being held in its tentacle as it feels the ship move away, and you're being dragged across the deck of the ship by the tentacle trying to grab hold of the deck as well as you. The tentacle is, instead of trying to hold on to you, is just going to fling you. It's going to fling. That's what the move's called. Fling. And as it flings you, you are thrown 40 foot in a random direction. You are flung. It throws you towards its mouth. It's trying to just get you out of way, deal with this mess, and you are currently, because of the D&D combat rules, in midair, being flung towards it, towards this gigantic serrated maw in the center of it. And the tentacle that was grabbing hold of you, now free, is going to, on its turn, try and grab hold of the ship again. But in the meantime, you are thrown towards the Silt Horror.
I like to imagine that there's a moment as Kronkwall is flying around the ship, like he's circling on that rope, that Watts being flung forward, and they kind of cross paths, and Kronkwall, like Gulag, turns the side of his head to you, has like a question on his eyebrow, and his face is just like shaking back and forth as he flies forward with his axe.
I think we both see both of us do that same thing in reaction to be like, "Yours flying in the air, so am I." Kind of like moment of,
I wish I had a rope.
What's happening?
Rickus, you and Seren are on your ballista, and the Silt Horror is right there. Very, very easy to see. Now, you can do one of two things, and it's your decision what you do. You can try and just shoot it. You can try and just damage it, try and weaken it, take it down. From where you're sitting with your view from this ballista on the gun deck, as you swivel around and look, you can see the tentacle. You can see this one that is clearly extended towards the ship, and you could try and shoot the tentacle itself over trying to directly shoot the Silt Horror. Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, I think I want to keep the tentacle away.
Great, then make me an attack roll with disadvantage because you're making a called shot against one of its tentacles.
Okay. I'm guessing
Again,
I don't
it's your
get
dexterity
proficiency.
modifier.
Yeah,
You do. You are proficient. It's dexterity and proficiency. You are proficient in this, so you get to add your dexterity-based attack roll to the ballista. That's absolutely fine.
Dope. Okay. I'll just roll one of my other weapons and just use that for now.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's a 23. Oh, no, that's a 10. Sorry, with disadvantage. Bleh.
I have to say, 23 with disadvantage. Oh my heck!
No.
But yeah, with a 10, you fire towards the tentacle that is holding the ship from the bottom, the second one that was there, and your bolt passes through the tentacle. Again, it's strangely like it's there, but not there. There is a strange energy to this that you can't quite feasibly work out. Your brother, also seeing what you're doing, fires at this tentacle and also misses. Both shots going straight through this tentacle and not really seeming to cause any major impact on the creature in any way. Looking at the whole thing, because you have the best view of the whole thing at the moment, apart from Gulags, which is, great, you can see that a lot of parts of this Silt Horror don't appear to be quite there. Not quite smoky, not quite cloudy, but it's almost like it's made of silt. And parts of it seem to be almost crumbling away in places or reforming strangely from the silt around it. It appears to be of the silt and part of it, and part of this whole situation. As you try and fire and miss, Keita, you're on the prow of this. You're on the back of the ship, on the gun deck, sat, and you've seen these two ballista fire out from the Sirocco and pass through this tentacle and miss. What would you like to do?
I think I'm going to shoot at its mouth.
Straight for the maw. Go for it.
Okay, is there any possible way that I could put heating energy into the bolt that I'm shooting? Because I kind of picked up that it hurts a little bit more when there's like fire and heat involved. So
I mean, you are a lava genasi. What abilities do you have as a lava genasi that we might be able to style as this? Because I'm very happy to work this out.
Yeah, so there is this feature called heating, and I can basically put that energy into any weapon that I have.
This is perfect for that. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and.
Do you sort of how do you heat it? Are you sort of touching the weapon, the whole like ballista device, or are you reaching forward to where the ballista bolt is? What are you up to?
I was thinking she'd probably like get up and then like run around to the front and then reach in and touch the bolt to power it up.
Yeah.
And then run back and then sit back down.
As you run to the front, you can see that the firing mechanism of this thing, it's beautifully designed. It has a firing mechanism, a shot that you can take, and then internally it seems to have a selection of that it can pull out and reload in. So if you reach out, you can not just heat the one that's currently ready to be fired, you can just reach down and run your hand over them. They all just slowly start to gain this like fiery effect across all of them as you do, because you've heated the weapon, so I'd say let's heat all of them. At which point you run back, step in, and aim for the maw. Go for it.
Okay.
It's a straight attack roll. This one, it is a called shot, but its maw is its weak spot, which you didn't know until this point, so I'm very happy for this to be going.
Does a 17 hit?
It just hits. As you heat them all up, step back and fire out that superheated bolt, and as you do, it fires through and goes straight into the maw that Gulag is slowly flying towards. And as you hit the maw, can you roll me ballista damage is 3d10, and because you aimed for the maw and you hit it, it's double.
Okay. Yeah.
And add your heating element to it as well. Add the heat damage to it as well.
Okay. So the 3d10 got. You said it was doubled?
You double the 3d10.
Okay, so 26, 29 total. So
This bolt just goes flying out and goes straight into the maw, and it sort of bounces off the various teeth and shreds, and as it does, splinters of this superheated bolt just go sparking out, and there's little gouts of flame inside, and as you hit, again, there's this shriek and grinding shriek of this creature, and everything it has grappled is released. The ship is suddenly released and let go. It's on the sheet here. I didn't make this up. Well, I did make this up, but I didn't make this up. It just flies in and it releases its hold on the Sirocco, which almost like a slingshot just starts to move. Incredible. All of you are like suddenly held in. Cronkwall on the rope just, yeah, I did it. Suddenly, like being dragged at a much faster speed away from everything else. And the ship is now lurching forward at quite some speed out into the silt, away as quickly as it can go. Yeah, you did it. See what happens now. Cool. So you fire and you hit resoundingly. The Silt Horror, it is now its turn, is going to desperately try and grab hold of its prize. The one thing it wanted, and it's now just skipping out of its reach. 4 tentacles shoot out, all going for it, just trying to grab hold of the Sirocco, and 1, 2, 3 slap ineffectively against the hull, desperately scrabbling, trying to get hold. One of the hooked tentacles smashes into the side of the ship and pierces the side of the ship. I rolled a nat 20. And as it does, the smash in, Rickus, you and Sarah just, as this hooked tentacle is now smashed into the gun deck through the wall of the ship and is just flailing wildly around the inside of the gun deck with both of you in there, desperately trying to hang on to the ship, which jerks, trying to move away at pace, but is now being held again by one of these tentacles, just grabbing hold desperately for dear life. On board the Tomblador ship, more it can see that the thing is attacking the Sirocco and not them, but they're still trying to engage, and more shots are fired at it. 2 of those impact it, and there's more screeching from it, angry, hurt, desperate not to lose its prize. The captain's also going to fire again. This time, the bolt, instead of splitting into 3, is just a single bolt that sparks as it goes with lightning energy, as it gathers up speed, and almost seems to speed up as it goes, suddenly getting all this lightning charge through it, which skips into the side of it, impacting but not causing as much damage as the last hits did. It shrieks again, full of rage. Gulag, you are flying through the air towards it. You are flying through the air towards its maw. It is your turn. At the moment, roll me an athletics check to see how you land on it.
With a lot of weight, but not as much weight as it has. An 18.
Cool. You can keep your footing, if you will, land on a part of it that isn't directly into the mouth, and can sort of land on it, and parts of it again are sort of, you can feel beneath your feet, some of it slides away into silt, and you can feel your footing almost losing on this strange creature and its strange movement around. You still have Zephyr Strike active, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What would you like to do standing on this creature?
So how, like, if I'm standing like on the, I imagine like I'm basically standing on what amounts to be its gums, right, with teeth all around me.
Basically, yeah.
I don't
I'd
see
say
any...
so.
Okay, and I don't see anything but teeth. It's like teeth on teeth on teeth on teeth.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is. You're
Throw
welcome,
Rysar at it. No.
Rysar in a distance going, no! Right. Yeah, there's teeth all around you. Like you are not in its mouth. You managed to catch yourself with the athletics check and not fly straight down its gullet. You managed to catch yourself, and you're sort of on the side of it. It's not like a flat surface. It's rounded and it's moving at the same time, so it's just curling and coiling all around you.
I'm over 12 feet tall. Are its teeth as tall as I am? Okay.
Yes, it is. It is a gargantuan creature.
So Gulag lands, bending his knees to catch his weight, and he can feel his knees beneath him just crack and pop in a way that is very uncomfortable. He grits through it, and again he bellows, and this time it sounds more, it's almost like a song, like a held note of a song that rumbles. and silt from the nearby sea like whips up around and then drives down towards the center of the mouth as he spins around in a circle again and again, getting momentum and trying to cleave through as many teeth as he can to cause injury before he makes his next decision.
Cool. Make me an attack roll. And if you're attacking the mouth, you know about attacking the mouth.
Yeah. I am, because I can't help it. And I'm going to use Great Weapon Master, at least on this one.
Okay.
So that's going to be a 12.
Nope.
And then I'm going to try it again. So he keeps whipping around and around and around.
Your axe
and I'm
just skips off all of these teeth. No impact made.
Yeah. But like that, just like he just gets up more speed as the silt is whipping around him. And I'll go ahead and activate Zephyr Strike.
Okay.
$22. Oh, so wait a second. The advantage, disadvantage canceled out, right?
Yeah.
Advantage from the Zephyr Strike. Okay,
the advantage of the strike. You still have the advantage. You still have the advantage from the Zephyr Strike. That's fine.
Chris, that is a natural 20.
Well, you get to it's already doubled, so you are quadrupling what you roll.
Yeah. So hold on. I'll roll this twice. And I get to add 2d 4d8.
It's a crit. It's a crit, and it already doubles in the mouth, so.
Oh, wow. This is 35, 45, 54, 73, 86 damage.
Okay.
Well, this has been fun.
You cleave, and the first strike skips off the teeth, and you just grit your teeth, bring the axe around again, and the second strike seems to tear a hole through the side of the mouth and through it. It is a horrifically powerful, dangerous strike that seems to, like, the silt around it whips, and you realize that part of it is just disintegrating, and its mouth now has this terrible gash out the side of it, and there is still this sort of black ichor and this strange siltiness just floating in this whole area. This beautiful, incredible strike, cleaving huge scar in it, one that will never heal from fully. It is an incredible, powerful hit.
Wow. So I think, like, covered in this goop now, Gulag grabs a tooth and tucks it under his arm, and the wind picks up again, and he casts Zephyr Strike with his bonus action, and he's going to start running towards the Tomblador ship as fast as he can, which is only 60 feet this turn, and with his body equilibrium, he can run on top. Yep.
Do you want to jump down and run on the silt, or, my friend, do you want to run up the tentacle that's currently stuck in the side of the ship?
Oh, wow. Oh. It's stuck in on the side of our ship, right?
Yes. Because you can do Zephyr Strike. You move without engaging attacks of opportunity, right? Like, it is like you are just
no
like
opportunity.
The wind.
It doubles my speed. Yeah, doubles my speed.
Yeah. You can roll me if you want to roll up that tentacle. There'll be a roll to see if you can balance on it. But yeah.
Would 60 feet get me back on the Sirocco?
Yes, it's quite close still. You'd be able to run up and jump onto the deck. No problem.
Oh, that's really tough. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it's probably really slimy, I imagine, with lots of eyes.
It's very strange. It's not so much slimy. It's the texture of it is like the silt itself, with a strange stickiness to it. It is that kind of like sappy, almost like clagginess. As you turn and run and make your way up the sort of running up the side of this tentacle almost, can you roll me an acrobatics check? I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I have an advantage on this with body equilibrium, which it's my psionic ability. So I imagine that like when he starts to get off balance, he telekinetically like pushes himself back up to try to keep himself balanced. Also, not drop his tooth. That's important to him. It's an 11.
Oh. Okay. You run, and as you're like just like managing to run your way up this tentacle, you feel like you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You know you're not going to make it. You are close, but you are running up this tentacle. You don't get. You're now nearly on the deck ship. You took so much of your movement to get up this tentacle that even with a Zephyr Strike, even with all of that movement, you are not quite on the deck of the ship yet as you go. And as you run and go, you hit it in the maw. It has to let go of grapples. The tentacle that was in the side of the ship snaps out, and you are flipped and flung into the air by that final move. And you're just flying through the air, sort of towards the Sirocco, but at this point you are not on deck of the ship. You are very much off deck of the ship, but flying through the air in the general sort of direction.
Maybe he sees Cronkwall again as he's going up.
Yeah.
Passing Cronkwall again. Can I drop Cronkwall my
same expression. Same expression.
What are you doing? Where did you get that
Incredible. Okay. Cronkwall, it's your turn. What would you like to say?
Hey. Okay. I think as he's being whipped around this whole time. So I saw Gulag twice in 6 seconds. that's
just
how I went there. Pretty great. I think he's going to let go and in a position, hopefully, to try to Mario Kart shell himself towards the onto the deck. So he's going to just let go and then hope to just skip across the deck of the Sirocco.
Okay. You're gonna have to time that real carefully. Okay. Can you roll me?
Right?
I think this is an attack roll where your body is the
where
weapon.
I am the projectile. Yep, I am the projectile.
Exactly.
It's gonna be great.
So can you make me? That's right, Kiana. Can you make me the attack roll? I think we're trying to get a base roll here to see how well you fling yourself onto the ship and how much you bounce around the various top bits of the deck.
Yeah. This is the dice. That natural 20.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
I was not expecting.
How do you want to land on the deck of the ship? How do you want this moment? Because you're a master of the way. You can control your aerodynamicness. You can work out exactly how and where you want to land on the deck. Cronkwall, what is your equivalent of the perfect 3-point landing?
Okay, I think what happens is he in the air, he lets go. He is above the sails at this point, and like up towards the rigging. Actually, I don't think he is. I think he's still swinging like around the masts, and he can't like a game of tetherball. He's just going to keep going, but he because he still has the rope in his neck, he flicks his head, and as he does that, he flicks his head, I guess, downward, so his body and the weight of his body is able to fling him towards the mast of the ship, tucks himself in for a little bit of a spin, and then you see, like in a total parkour kind of roll, he extends into fully extended with his limbs out, lands, but collapses into like one of those PK rolls, but with his tortoise shell. So it's, and then catches a little bit of air as he gets back up onto his feet and runs over towards the psionic orb of the Sirocco, and goes, "I must help!" And he closes his eyes and he tries to. I would like to help boost the ship. I don't like. I guess like I'm going to try to like focus the way and try to help the ship be faster. I don't know. He doesn't know if it's going to work.
I will allow. Of course, yes, of course you can.
Okay.
Great move.
So that's what I want to do. I want to just I guess from here on, I'm going to probably just sacrifice my turn to boost the ship to go faster, or whatever that may mean. If I can
We'll
do that.
get there, don't worry. Of course you
Okay,
can. But
that's
don't
what I'd
get-
like
we'll
to
get
do.
there, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. As you run forward and just reach out and grab hold of the psionic pole, you get the whoa, like whoa, and suddenly the whole ship just kicks like it was already moving, but suddenly Gita, Rikus, and Seren in the chairs just like suddenly get like pulled back as the ship just suddenly boosts forward at dramatic speed. You're like you are flying over towards him as it moves underneath you very, very quickly, quite concerningly quickly. He's in the air. Oh. Right, so on board the Pride of Tomblador, you have moved. You've moved Hypraetor Praxis with you, and you're walking towards the edge of this ship. And you can move with Hypraetor Praxis and move up to one of the sides where there are these ballista towers, and you can step up with him. As you step up, do you have like a cool speech you have prepared or something?
Yeah, absolutely. As we get to the side, I say,
So what does he want to show me? What's going on?
as you know, House Revere do not tolerate slavery. Always forward, never back. Hi, Praetor. I push him over the side.
As you do that, but it's like cool move, like yeah, and you push. Can you make me a? It's an attack, or it's a grapple, technically a shove.
What I want to try and do is use my dexterity to just like whoop, tip him rather than a because I know I'm
There's a
not
trip.
strong.
It's like a
Yeah,
trip.
yeah.
Okay. I will allow you to grapple using your dexterity as a shove. You can use your acrobatics score. That's fine.
And I am okay. Cool. And this would count as a dexterity ability check, right? Just checking.
Yes,
Cool.
please.
Cool.
That's fine by me.
Cool.
I just roll with High Praetor, and it's sad.
Brilliant. So acrobatics.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, roll 20 does 2 rolls in case you have disadvantage. So with disadvantage, it would have been a 20. It's 21.
Jeez. You, as the High Praetor steps forward, what's going on here? Looking out over the silt, and as you're going, like, as you make your final cool speech and trip him up, he just steps forward and just was flying off the edge.
And as he does that, how far away is...
As he does that, the Sirocco just goes shooting past you at incredible speed, shooting out of the harbor with all this movement, this kinetic movement around the side of the Pride of Tomblador. All of this movement's happening. You can see Gulag flying over the top of the ship as it is flying past you at quite some speed.
So what I want to do with the rest of my stuff is
You have a bonus action left.
Yeah, that would be an action, I guess, wouldn't it? Okay. So
You have a bonus action left.
and my movement, I guess.
You used your movement with him to get him to this point. You only really have a bonus action left here.
A misty step.
Silty step.
Does the ship get within 30 feet of you?
Of course it does.
I'm gonna roll for it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna roll for it. Because I quite like the
Okay.
idea of you misty stepping to a point close to the ship, but not quite on it. We'll see. I'm gonna roll for it. In fact, no, Toby. I'm gonna let you roll for it. Roll me a D100.
D100? No, I roll terribly when I roll real dice. Okay.
D100, please.
This
And that's how many feet it gets to... and the
You can have roll
D100
20
roll is
to
how
it.
many feet... How many feet it gets close to you. So roll low.
Oh, I usually do roll low, actually. So.
Good, that's what we want.
I'm not even going to pick up the one I dropped because the 10s was 90.
Ah.
As the Sirocco comes flying past, you look at it and go, yeah, and misty step up in the direction of it, and you get a third of the way there. You're in mid-air just going, nope, and just going flying through the air. Not close enough. Nowhere near close enough.
I definitely just look down and go, oh.
You can see where you leapt from in the silt. The High Praetor is in the silt, and he's landed in it and is sinking into it. And just, what's it? Help! Somebody help me! I'm stuck in the silt! And it's just slowly sinking into it, but won't sink into it on this turn. It'll take some time. As you have now leapt away. It's not an instant, like, poof, you're gone.
Okay. Cool.
Lovely.
I'll probably be doing a feather fall.
Okay.
But actually, I don't even need to. Yeah, that's fine.
No, not at this point. You can be in midair for this. That's fine. But we'll work out fall on your next turn. There's movement. I'm happy with that.
Oh.
As you appear, Rickis, you and Seren, there's a hole in the side of the ship. You're still in this ballista, and you can see two of your friends midair. Not quite there yet, with the ship picking up speed very, very quickly. In your head, you hear, "We got grappling bolts if you need them."
Yes, maybe, yes, I don't know. Where, what, how?
Right panel. That button, and you get a sense of there's a wooden switch, and as you do, the whole ballista extension in front of you just turns through 90 degrees. And you can see in front of you where there was this sharp piercing object, you're now on a different angle, and it's now got a grappling object on the end of it, a sort of four-pronged grapple.
Cool. This is gonna go great, I'm sure.
Try and hit Rysar if you want to.
So some part of me, the rational player, is like, doesn't sound like a great idea. Does Rickis have any filter into their thoughts? No.
Yes. Cool. Make me an attack roll.
Yeah. Okay. Doing that real quick.
Rysar, what's your AC, love?
Me?
Yeah.
In like a good way or
What is your AC? Don't quibble with me.
It is 17, I think. Yes, it is 17.
Ooh, hard to hit.
I mean, that's using the way to protect myself. So, I mean, I guess I could probably... And my dexterity. I don't wear armor. So that's all the way and...
Okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Rickis, what did you roll as an attack roll against Rysar?
24.
Yeah, we're fine. Right, so you're just, it's not going to be far enough. And a bolt just impacts you in the center of your chest. Rickis, roll me 3d10 and halve it.
Oh, God.
Hang on, what?
I'm so sorry. 17.
Okay, is that halved? Did you halve the damage on that? Or did you roll higher and halve it to 17?
No. Half 17 is...
8, round down. So, right, so you take 8 points of damage as this ballista bolt impacts in the center of your chest. And you suddenly go, I'm dead, I'm definitely dead. But looking down, there's no piercing thing. It just punched really hard into the center of your chest. And the 4 bolts around the side have just clink, grappled onto you. And you suddenly, I'm fine now. And you hit the silt. And are now bouncing along the surface of the silt as the ship basically being dragged by this ballista bolt in the center of your chest as you are being pulled along at quite some speed. Silt surfing, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think Rickis like looks over to Saren and like throws up their hands.
Gulag, throw me aboard.
Saren is just watching this with a kind of okay. Peter, it is your turn as well. You're on a very similar initiative order. I'm gonna let you roll before Saren rolls. Do you want to try and grab Gulag?
Yes.
Who?
Keita, do you want to try and grab Gulag?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's fine. I can try that.
Perfect. Then make me an attack roll against Gulag.
Okay. A 2.
A ballista bolt with a rope attached to it goes flying past you, Gulag. You can see it, like it's crossing your path as the Sirocco is now moving away from you, and you could still potentially try and land on deck. It's getting harder and harder. It's flying further and further, but there's now also this bolt flying past you that might give you assistance. In the meantime, the Silt Horror is going to quickly turn and try and catch up, try and move past the Pride of Tomblador and catch up with the Sirocco. But the Sirocco is fast. The Sirocco is faster than it, and you can see that the Sirocco is now pulling away from the Silt Horror because the Sirocco is about 10 foot around faster than it, so it is able to outstrip it. As it is moving away, the Kraken is just roaring. This grinding sound has now got a low, guttural sound to it, and there's a strange whistling to it now as part of its mouth is now torn open perpetually. Yeah, like that. That's very good, yeah. It can't make any attacks this round. It's too far away, but it is moving away at quite some pace. And more shots from the Pride of Tomblador are coming towards its back, although quite a few people are now running towards the side of the ship, letting down ropes to try and get High Praetor Praxis back on board, trying to save him. I'll roll and see if they save him, Rysar. It's not a given. So far, they're struggling to get him out of the silt, but yes, they are trying desperately to get down to him and make this work. Sarkix is going to leap down Kronkwall, like fly with a flying leap down to where you are, Kronkwall, and just grab hold of you and go, "You can make it go faster, make it go faster!"
I don't think he knows that he's being.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying.
You are increasing its speed. It will basically move again on your turn, so it is moving at double pace, so it's going to move very, very quickly. Gulag.
Concentration check from me when that happens?
No, there's no like shaking you free.
Cool. All right.
There's no damage or anything, there's no breaking you free, not at all. Right, Gulag. You're in midair. The ship is whipping past you at quite some pace. You can see Rysar has been grabbed and is bouncing off the surface of the silt underneath you. There is a bolt that has been fired past you, which is attached to the ballista Keita is on the back of the ship. You are also potentially able to move in the air and land on board the ship. I'll give you a couple of rolls to see how this goes. Do you want to try and grab the rope next to you? Do you want to just try and land on the deck of the ship by yourself? Do you want to try and fall into the silt and grab hold of Rysar?
How high up am I right now?
About 75 feet off the surface of the silt.
Okay. Interesting. I guess so would I have to spend an action to try to grab onto this grappling bolt that's shot
Put it
past me?
this way, Don. Don, you can either try and land on the deck of the ship. That's an action. You can try and grab hold of the rope. That's an action. Or you can fall into the silt and try and grab hold of the rope that Rysar is on. That is also an action. All three have different DCs and different checks attached to them. It's up to you. And I won't tell you which one they are.
I like that. Am I able to see? Would I be able to see? Nah. He can go into the silt. I won't worry about him. Yeah, I'll try to grab onto the one that's shot, the bolt that's shot past me. See if I can grab onto it off the chain and maybe climb my way back.
It's a rope, not a chain. But yeah, you can make a athletics check to try and grab hold of the bolt being fired near you. I mean, near you, it was a 2, like close to you.
That's a 25.
Yeah, you grab hold of, you sort of through the air, just grab hold of the rope as it's near you, and also suddenly are dragged ahead, and you will also land on the surface of the silt in this case. You know, you have body equilibrium, so you can keep yourself above it and basically water ski quite effectively, Rysar next to you is going to be more of like a bouncing ball, because Rysar will sort of sink in as a bounce, whereas you can probably make it look a bit more effortless.
Okay, is Rysar fairly close to me on the silt as well?
Yeah, you can easily steer yourself around to help Rysar. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I'll allow.
So with his body equilibrium, keeping him over the silt, like he just doesn't sink very quickly. He can keep moving, and he's got Zephyr Strike too. So like the wind is whipping past him. Like his hair is going all over the place. He's just gonna, like, much faster than he looks like he should be able to run. He's gonna run on the surface of the silt and steer his bolt closer to Rysar and dip his shoulders down but keep running and say, all right, boss, jump on. I got you. Grab on tight.
Thanks.
This conversation's probably, hey, boss, grab on tight.
Nice to see you. Rather fun, isn't it?
It is Crunkle's turn next, so with that, the pace, and suddenly going, whoa, 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 like it's suddenly a heck of a lot faster, and you're back into almost like skiing on the surface, as the Sirocco is just going to suddenly and quickly fly away at an incredible pace, zooming away from last port. The Silt Horror left in your wake, still roaring angrily and frustratedly. You can see more ballista being fired from the Pride of Tomblador, now slowly and portentously making its way out of last port. And you can just in the distance hear, get me out of the blooming silt! And with that, we're out of initiative. The Sirocco keeps going at quite a pace. Bronquil, with your extra psionic energy added to the ship floater orb and added to this whole situation, it is flying away at an incredible pace. Do you keep this up? How long do you keep it up?
I think he's going to keep going until the Sirocco tells him, because that's the only person he can listen to right now. He's unaware of the surroundings, I feel like he's channeled into it. So I think he's just going to keep going until he hears otherwise.
You're going to tear us apart if we keep going for too much longer, lad.
Oh, are we safe? And it's working?
Yeah, we're safe enough for now. We're never perfectly safe, are we?
Oh, existential.
And he lets go for a second, and I think we see him. He just passes out, like right on his back, as his shell rolls for a second, and he just. I think he's going to pass out for a moment and go unconscious.
Yeah, that's fine. And as you do, the ship slows, and Gulag, once the ship has slowed down, you are able to bundle up to Rysar, and between the two of you, pull your way up the rope and back on board Sirocco as it still shooting, not as fast as it was, but moving at quite a speed across the silt and away.
I think
will say that
would just have one. He just has one question for Rysar as they're climbing back up before they get to the top. He just really needs to know, so why did you jump on the other ship?
I should probably point out that Rysar is still disguised as a House Tomblador human.
Oh, did I leave you?
But I guess
you saw him change on board the ship as he turned into it and leapt off.
Yeah, that's true.
You're aware that he can disguise himself. That's fine.
It doesn't look like Rysar until he turns sideways, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, it was always Rysar.
Yeah, because as soon as he's out of sight of the Tomblador ship, he's not bothered about keeping it up, so we'll drop it.
Okay.
Sorry, say that again, Don?
Yeah, his question is, so why did you jump on that other ship? Exactly.
I was trying to give us the best chance of getting away. Tie up some loose ends. Do what's best for the city.
Gulag doesn't get it, but after a moment, he finally nods his head like, sure, I get it, and keeps climbing.
And then he's like,
roll.
What's best for our House Jarko? That's it.
Gulag, do you want to roll some kind of performance or deception check to pretend that you got it?
Yeah, absolutely. Deception is best. Actually, they're the same. Well, I think this is performance. He's not trying to lie. He's just trying to look like he gets it.
Sure.
An 11.
I think my passive beats that, doesn't it?
Yeah. What's your? You can roll insight, or you can do your passive. I don't mind.
I think I'll do passive. My passive is 14.
Yeah, Gulag's putting it on. You know that.
But I pretend that I totally buy it because
Oh, friends let friends lie to them.
It's a common thing with us.
Yeah.
As you two climb back up the rope, and if you take your time, there's no checks. You can easily do this over time. And as Cronqual, as you start to as you are shaken awake by the captain, you all right? Hey, you okay?
I'm always safe.
And I think from on his back, he's going to try to look around, like upside down towards the front of the deck to see if everything is clear.
Rickus, you and Seren and Kita, you from the back ballista, can all be making your way to the deck where everyone else is, and you can all reconvene together. You do know that none of the crew are here. Except for the captain.
I think he looks around for a moment and then sees the coast is clear, and then he just kind of rests his eyes again and passes out.
Okay. As you all reconvene on the deck of the ship, the captain looks around you and goes, "Well, that was a close one. Thank you all. That was very, very," looks at Gulag, "very impressive. Yeah, we got away." Cool.
Who shot those ropes at us?
Oh, that was
just
your
put both
friends
hands
over
up.
here.
Oh, hey, thank you. Probably saved us. And he slumps down, his chest heaving, just exhausted.
Yeah, it was a tight one. Well, I best get us back on course then, shouldn't I? So I better leave you people to it. And the captain's going to
Indeed. Thank you,
make
Rickus.
the captain's going to make like this is a perfectly normal day, nothing weird happened, and is just going to like nod and go to fly back up to the captain's deck and get away from all of you unless you stop them.
I stop him. Them.
Thank you.
Captain.
Yeah.
Captain, I think mayhaps we deserve an explanation, if for no other reason than, is this going to happen every day, every week?
Well, you're on the Silt, you face various things. Things can be good, things can be bad. It's a terrible lie. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, but I think we deserve an explanation. First, tell us about ghosts and curses. And I sort of give a sideways glance to Gulag. Am I right?
Okay. We're going to be traveling for a bit. I guess it's only fair I give you a little bit more of the 411. Okay. So... That thing that's been after the ship for a long, long time. Years. Many, many years. Well, I think this is one the ship can explain, actually. It's probably more for them to explain than for me. Right, so, in all your heads, yes, the cat's out of the bag then, so,
Wait, he wakes up.
As I mentioned to some of you, I wasn't always on the Sirocco. I wasn't always the Sirocco. I was different ships before that. And one of the ships that I was, well, got attacked by that thing. And, Well, it ate me. And I didn't like being eaten. So I got out. Used some of my, abilities. And in doing so, think I gave it some of my abilities too. Can't die now. All it wants is me. And it knows where I am wherever I go. And it's gonna hunt me down until it can make us both one creature again. Make us whole again. So that's what that is. We're the fastest ship on the Silt. We're faster than it. Captain keeps track of where it's been seen. Tries to keep track of where it's following. Although it got close this time, it's going to be pretty relentless for a while, and we're going to have to shake it off course. There are places we can go. Might add a bit of time to our journey. Apologies for that. But I think I should be able to, keep it at bay for a time.
Are the rest of the crew ghosts at all?
What are you talking about?
As you say that, Rysar, the captain looks at you and gives you a very strong, like...
Nothing, joking. Respect to humour.
I understand, of course. There's time and a place in
Hold
there.
to joshing with you.
like the way you're talking, that's a good one, that is. Right, well, Captain, if you'd be so kind as to...
And starts talking to the captain about course and directions, and the captain nods, and after a while the voice fades out of all your heads as the captain and the ship floater orb converse. And after a while, the captain stops talking and... Right, while the Sirocco's busy, part 2. There is no crew. Ship doesn't need a crew. It can fly itself. Needs someone like me to help, but without me, it would just go in straight lines, so, yeah. Likes to remember the crews that it had. It can, manifest the crews that it had, people it liked. So yeah, they're kind of like ghosts. I see your point. It doesn't know that it's doing it. It just thinks they're still here. It thinks they're all still here. And it's old. It's past its prime. I'd appreciate if you could keep it in that illusion. And the hurdy-gurdy is rolling up again as Corvus is now sat on deck, where Corvus was always sat. And Zeph steps out from inside and... How's everyone doing? Well, that seemed like a bit of an ordeal, didn't it? Sorry, we were below deck. Would have helped if we could. Anyone need anything?
I've heard something about a fantastic drink on board. I'd love a little something to
Drinks.
quench my...
Oh, Tilak's more of the person to organise that sort of thing. I'll see if I can find her, and heads back down. Corvus is just sat there, playing the hurdy-gurdy, smiling at all of you.
No.
You alright? Had a lovely, well, it seemed like a big ordeal, that, didn't it? I'm glad it went well.
I think Kronkol's going to waddle up to Corvus and lean a hand. Actually, I think Kronkwall is going to make his way downstairs to fetch his walking stick. And then he'll
You
be
didn't
back
kick it
in
too far
moments.
down the stairs. You didn't kick it too far down the stairs. It was still, like, in the stairwell.
Right, just away, and safely secured. Yeah, he's gonna go grab that, and while I guess whatever the next actions that are happening, he's gonna go and just start trying to prod Corvus with the stick.
I'll come to that. No problem.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you doing on these two revelations? The captain's still with you, as trying to explain all of this.
Ricketts is looking around very confused because they remember touching these people that apparently don't exist. And they're very confused about this. I think they probably are staring at all the crew members.
And there's only Corvus visible right now. I think I'll allow because it's part of the same thing. Cronkel, if you come back and if you, with your stick, just reach out and prod Corvus, go sort of.
I think he's leaning to do it.
Yeah. Corvus is Corvus is physically there.
Oh,
You're right.
sorry, I was.
Something the matter?
No, it's just sorry. I was simply.
Oh.
Everything's all right. Great song, by the way.
He tries to play it
I
off.
do know a couple others, but the ship likes this one.
Oh, I can't wait to hear them.
I think for a hot second,
everyone else
Ricketts
doing?
goes around to everybody and like pokes them.
I want Rysar and Keita and Gulag and the rest of your
Literally
friends.
everybody else. Yes.
Okay, if any person you poke on this ship feels physically there.
Okay.
Oh, yes?
As Ronkhall looks down to Ricketts.
And just like, okay, you can touch everybody. Touching the thing.
He starts to touch you in the snout.
Poking each other. Cute. What's everyone else doing? Well, Cronkel and Rickus poke each other.
I'm still trying to figure out what my blackout moment was earlier. I'm still not over that. Could I possibly find Talak again? Maybe.
Talak will step. Yeah, Talak will step back onto the deck with a couple of different mugs and just go. Now I heard people were looking for a drink or two. Points out, you lad, here, and starts handing out, and has enough beakers for everyone. You're like, no. Rysar,
So
do you take a tankard?
I certainly do, yes.
I'm gonna look
I'm
at
sort of
Rysar.
holding
handed
it
to you,
for a
Keita.
while.
I'm gonna look at Rysar while Talak is like faced towards him, and I'm gonna be like,
Someone gift that. Someone gift that now.
and then as soon as Talak comes back around, I'm like, oh no, thank you, I'm good, I'm great.
All right. Well then, I'll better take some of these back down. Did you want something? You look like you want something.
So after a specific drink that you gave me earlier, I kind of got a little drowsy. And then when I woke up, it was a completely different part of the day. Can you explain that?
Well, you looked like you needed a rest, so I gave you a rest. Did you not need one?
I just wasn't expecting it, I guess.
Oh, sorry. All right. If you let me know what you need, I can help with that sort of thing. You know, calming you down. I've got various concoctions I can use to make people feel different ways if they want to.
Oh. Okay, so it wasn't like anything suspicious, like anything I need to be concerned about.
Oh, no, I misinterpreted. I'm sorry. I thought it was part of the whole, you know, working together. But if it's not something that you want, then I'm very happy to have a different way of dealing with it.
I mean, now that I know that you're not trying to, off me or anything, like, I mean, I don't...
Oh, no. Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, Cord's face.
I went on a journey there for a second.
No, we can provide for all sorts of things. We've got a hull full of food now for you. So there's plenty of food going around for everybody, and I can always provide different concoctions if needed. Or in a friendly ear if you want to talk.
No, I think I'm alright for now.
Chris,
There.
Yes.
Gulag's like staring, like squinting at each of these, and Tulak right now especially. And the idea goes through his head of like, is the food real? If they're not real, is the food real? Is the drink real? Any of this real? Like, are we even on a ship right now? And like, he's really squinting, and I want to use.
Roll me an investigation. No, oh, sorry. What do you want to use? Go on.
I wanted to use primeval awareness to begin with to sense whether or not I can sense any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead within 1 mile.
Interesting. Okay. How does your primeval awareness look? What do you do to activate it?
Yeah, it's when he focuses, and when he focuses, I imagine like this is more. Part of this is like his connection with the elemental planes, and part of it's psionic. That when he focuses and he hits just the right spot, it's he can hear, he can smell these kinds of creatures that are maybe even a far ways away, a mile away. He can hear changes in the reverberations of sound, and he's just learned like what that language means. Those slight changes he can pick up on. He's able to use to sort of pinpoint those kinds of creatures when they're close, when he hits just the right place in his mind and in his connection to the planes.
As you focus in and look around you, you can hear the creak of the wood. You can feel the vibration with you as the wings catch more of this psionic energy. You can hear the slight twisting of the ropes in the wind around you. You can hear the sails fluttering above you. The ship is real. As you focus in on the figures around you, you get a very strange presence that you probably struggle to recognize what it is. It's not elemental. Would Gulag have encountered any kind of fey energy, especially considering where we are in Athos before?
If he has, I don't think that he would recognize that he had encountered anything like that, because it's pretty removed from the parts of Athos that he's been to.
It's very rare, very, very rare indeed. You do get this strange... They're like... You know it's a person. You can see Corvus right there, clearly human, and you can see that, you can feel as you...
Smiling.
There's a poke, yeah.
As Corvus is still smiling at you. He's human.
There's definitely substance. And it looks human, it smells human, it sounds human, everything about it's very clearly human until you dig like a centimeter beneath the skin. And then it's just energy. This strange energy signature almost that you don't recognize, like a low, like you can almost hear the twittering of birds, something that you wouldn't even know what to recognize as it is. And there's a sense of warmth and hearth and home, but also a slight mischievousness that runs through it. You don't know what it is, but it's not Athasian. It doesn't even feel like something you would recognize as anything about the world around you. You can almost hear crickets chirping.
I think after concentrating, he would just sort of stand up. He's caught his breath. In his mind, that probably a ghost. He still thinks it's probably a ghost. And
is ghost like Gulag's like, it's a ghost. Okay.
It's like, ghost is like anything that, because he understands a lot about the natural world. He even understands about the planes. But what he doesn't understand about
Oh, we've lost
is-
your camera,
I'll
buddy.
be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Gulag's a
What he
ghost.
doesn't understand about
Gulag's a
is
ghost.
he doesn't understand about Fae, and therefore they are ghosts. Ghosts are something that is made up in his mind.
Okay.
He just kind of
So-
stomp. He'll just basically say, "I'm gonna be over here if anyone wants to talk," and he's gonna go as far away from them as possible on the deck of the ship.
If you head over to the cargo hold where all the food is stored, you can open that up. You can just lift up the top. That's fine. You're big enough. And the food inside is real. It is there. The food is genuinely there. It is all fine. You can just go, food. This makes me feel better. It makes me stop. Oh, no, this is me leaning into me. Food, and I'll
so
forget
we
my
stop-
problems, says Chris.
That's
So we stopped at the
because
last
he is
port
also
so the
very
crew
hungry.
can just
Yeah.
get us food. Is that what happened? We think probably.
They don't need food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
They're eager to please.
He'll try some, but he'll hide it from everybody else. He doesn't want.
So while Gulag goes over and grabs a bite to eat, Rysar, what are you doing? You're the only one who hasn't spoken up yet.
I would like to say to the captain, as you have finally, though I suppose understandably, been honest with us, we will, of course, honour your request to keep this on the low down from the ship. I understand.
Look,
We hope to be good
I
guests.
don't fully understand all of it. I just know that this ship has things it can do that other ships can't do. And sometimes I need that. So, this is what we do now. This is how it all goes. The ship doesn't know what it is. The ship doesn't know what it's entirely what it's doing. But it's useful. You understand?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Tell your friends, this next bit's gonna suck, by the way. And just flaps up and goes back up to the captain's deck.
Oh? I would like to find Rickus, who's probably poking Bronquil.
Oh, yeah. Look,
I think it's still
they're
going
having-
on.
They're having a poke off.
Rickus, I just wanted to make it clear I am
Stop first.
extremely
You stop first.
grateful for your actions in retrieving myself and Gulag. No doubt you saved our lives. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, of course. I wasn't just gonna, leave you in the silt or anything. That would have been not great, I don't think. Because we're all supposed to be together doing the thing. So, leaving you behind felt like the wrong thing to do, and you're not supposed to do the wrong thing.
Thank you. Is Keita around as well?
Yeah,
I think so.
she's just standing there.
Keita, did you? I didn't really see much of the battle. I was, doing my own thing towards our survival. How did you fare? I hope you weren't injured.
Oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Excellent. Good. So this drink's no, is it? Or
I mean, apparently there was enough hard food that happened to me earlier. It's a little strong, but you can hold your liquor, you'll be fine.
fantastic. I'll go slow.
Yeah,
I'll go and find
sip it.
Gulag as well, but just to sort of hang out with
Do
Gulag.
you sip the booze?
I'm like, do you want in on some of this? I'm tempted. I'm tempted. Gulag, old drinking buddy, old pal. I'll wake up for a cocktail at the crack of dawn.
If you want to try it first, but I don't know. You ever think,
Right.
Rysar, that maybe the best thing, maybe not right now because we have a mission, but maybe the best thing is, oh no, oh.
Don't save.
He'll ask Rysar if he thinks, even if he's asleep, he'll ask him, not
Rysar's
notice.
not asleep.
Okay. Do you think the best thing's maybe if that creature does get the orb? If there's whatever you want to call them, ghosts or something else entirely, they got to be tired, right? Just tired of going, always running, and it'll never end for them,
It was a 17, Chris.
Con save. Yeah, you're fine. If anything, you feel revitalized, and like if you were exhausted or had lost hit points, you'd be regaining them right now.
Oh, because I did. I was shot with a harpoon.
Oh, in which case you heal. Keeping it. 7 hit points.
Oh, nice. I think I lost 8, so yeah, cool. Great. I understand what you're saying, old friend. However, I do not believe they feel the passage of time like you and I. I do not believe they are even real in the way you and I are. And then Rysar really subtly just pinches himself. See what I'm saying?
You take 1 point of damage from pinching yourself too hard.
What? I give Gulag the drink and say, this is actually very good, by the way. It's much better than that slop water we had on Grog Island.
All right. He'll drink from it as well.
Oh, roll me a con saving throw.
Okay. Only an 11. Bad roll for Gulag.
Gulag,
Isn't that exactly what Keita got?
You
I
do
think
heal
so.
12 points of damage. Different drinks. You do heal 12 points of damage, but you are also, like, you can feel yourself getting tipsy very quickly.
Okay.
It's gone straight to your head, but you do heal 12 points of damage.
It's that battle rush, like all of that being flung around in the air is really like reduced his tolerance for the night. Yeah, he'll sort of settle back. He'll start to doze off, just kind of like of his own accord, rather than to continue to push himself. But he will offer before he does to Rysar, even if it's different than us, boss. Whatever this is real. And at some point, everything that is has to stop being. Just sort of conk out.
I think Rysar will ponder this, see the effects of the drink on Gulag, and go, you are quite smart for an idiot. And drinks the drink, and then just sort of lays down next to him and just...
It doesn't have multiple healing effects, and he does it once, so yes.
No, that's fine.
Any of the other three, Keita, Cronqual, Rickus, anyone looking to do anything in particular at this point? I've got one thing I want to do, but I'm happy to check in with everyone else first before I do it. No?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Rickus has finally left Cronqual alone.
Yeah.
I win. Undefeated. Wonderful.
Keita, if you're standing by yourself, Talak will come over to you again. Look, I'm really sorry about the misunderstanding. That wasn't intentional.
I try and make what people want, and maybe I tried to guess. Maybe I tried to guess and got it wrong, or got the tone wrong anyway.
It's okay. I was freaked out about it, but I mean, I'm not gonna hold that against
Wasn't
you.
my
or anything.
intention.
No,
Well,
no worries.
I'll be clear. Don't worry. I'll be clearer with you. I can make a bunch of things that make people feel different things, and we've got them lying around the ship at various points. And maybe if I clearly ask you what you want next time, might be easier.
Okay.
Righto. And as she steps back, Keita, if you look out, the silt around you is changing. Not like the ground is literally changing as you watch it, but you're traveling over silt, and as you travel over the silt under the ship where you are traveling is changing. Where this grey, fine sand all around you is pretty constant, you're now seeing strange white patches in it. And the white patches start to come together and coalesce and sink into place, and suddenly you are just flying over this whiteness. And you start to hear a sort of quite high-pitched grinding noise. And if you look over the side of the ship, the prow of the ship, once skipping slightly over the silt, is now scraping slightly over the top of a far harder surface. Now you're from the Silt Sea. You know about the various things that are around here. And you realize that the Sirocco has flown over one of the most dangerous parts of the Silt Sea. Not a specific area, but a natural formation that occurs in parts of it. A salt flat. Where things under the silt can't follow. But as you feel the rays of the sun bouncing off the salt and reflecting back into your eyes, you remember why the salt flats are so very dangerous. So out of one frying pan into a very different kind of fire. And that's where we'll pick up next time, everybody. How's everyone doing? Jeez. Whoa.
So good.
A lot of reveals and big combat.
That was awesome.
I will say this to all of you because it's one of my favorite things that I have done here. Don and I have talked through a lot of like story beats because we're telling campaigns at the same time. I've been trying to keep stuff from him. This is one of the things I kept from him. He told me Gulag was scared of ghosts, and I went, and just kept it quietly. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
How's everyone doing?
So I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
Crazy combat. Good stuff, everyone. Thank you for going with on some very cinematic moments there. That was fun.
Oh yeah, it was
How you
It
doing,
was
Tony?
the most
Happy?
swashbuckling.
Well, let's
It
use
was
the opportunity
Luke
at
and
the end of the show.
Yeah.
Let's use the opportunity at the end of the show, as we always do, to go around, just say a bit about how you're doing, maybe some stuff you're working on if you want to, and just say hi to everyone. Big thank you, as always, to everyone watching. Big thank you for joining us for the show. Do catch it every week, same time, same place on the LFM network. Do check us out. We are in podcast form as well. If you're listening to us on podcast, hello. Do give us a like, subscribe, share, all the rest of it. And on whatever service you're engaging with us, any chance you have to tell more people about the show in any capacity or review the show, please do. Without the audience, shows like this do not exist. And without you, we can't do what we do. So big thanks all around there. Anywho. Toby, how you doing, bud?
Good, thank you, Kristofsky. I very much enjoyed this session. And yeah, like I was literally terrified as I was trying to do the hit on the high praetor. He was such a dick. He deserved it.
I will say, like, throwing him in the sill, great move, but it doesn't kill you immediately. If it could have done, I would have let it. I would have let it for you because that was such a bold choice and such a big move.
Yeah.
But it takes a couple rounds. Can just sink in entirely. I couldn't give it to you. I'm very sorry.
I was just going off. I back way long time ago, Don, before we started the Veiled Alliance first stretch of the campaign, Don gave us some suggested reading, and one of them was the Obsidian, the trilogy, I think it was.
Or
They were, yeah. And in that, I just remember reading like the silts being terrible, and it was just someone falls in it, and it's like pop. It's like less than a round. They're just and they were gone
in the middle of the sea, in the middle of nowhere. Then because it's quite deep, and
we
you
were
can
right
fall through it. But you were on the edge of it. You were in a harbor. It would have been very strange for the High Praetor just and then that's it, all done. It would have felt like quite a lot. And also,
he's right by a port.
Let's face it now as well. He already didn't like you. He now really doesn't like you. So that's also good. At least he won't forget you this time.
I mean, to be fair, I did wonder if I'd succeed in killing him, which is why I slipped in the House Wavir do not tolerate slavery. House Wavir, of course, being a big political opponent of House Tomblador and at odds with them, and nothing to do with Rysar at all. So.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. You cast suggestion on him, not on all the commanders going, who's that random guard who came up and jumped off that other ship? Like it's gonna... Kiana,
yes,
how
I
you
very
doing?
much enjoy it.
Thank you, Tim. Much appreciated.
Toby, do you want to
fun.
shout out your
sorry,
socials
Toby,
and
do you want to
such?
do a shout out?
Oh, shit, yeah. I love shouting about myself. At Toby Osmond on Twitter, at Toby Osmond Actor on Facebook, Mr.T.Osmond on Insta.
Thanks.
Follow Adventurers Wanted. Chris, you don't know, but basically
legend.
the only thing I ever shouted about before you were DMing was follow Adventurers Wanted. But now you're here.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate it. I'll do that now. You can leave it.
Yeah.
Sorry. How are you doing?
Good. Apparently, Rickus can only hit when it's saving people, which is great. That's cool. I'm glad I didn't hurt anybody in this.
Part of this was also, not going to lie, part of this was also making sure that you all started to get like in-game encounters with the ballista, how they work, with the ship, how it functions, so you can start making tactical choices without me feeding too heavily. So, yeah. Definitely.
No, yeah, I appreciate it, and it's super cool, and I will not get the image of these tiny rat people in this very large seat for these very large guns and doing their best. It's great. I love it so much.
I was very pleased with all of the rat gunners. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And now that Rickus sort of knows how it works, maybe they'll actually be able to hit things. But did manage to save people, so that's cool. And yeah, y'all can find me over on Twitter at KinaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing. Come over the internet, doing sorts of role-playing things. Streaming, writing, shining the void. I am the co-producer of Salty Games, where we got a couple cool shows over there, projects and all that stuff. That's all tabletop related, so you can go find me. But I'm excited to be back here next week.
And Kenna, what does your shirt say? I've been trying to read it, but it's so small on my screen. What does your shirt say?
I am the smiling DM that you have been warned about.
Excellent. Very good. I approve this much. There we go. Oh,
yeah, there
it is.
go.
Nice.
Hey.
It's a tabletop
stuff.
loot shirt.
Yeah,
they're great.
It's great. It's really, really good.
Really good.
Love it. Code.
Me. There it is. That's the button. Hi. Oh man, that was
How
so
you doing?
good. Doing great. That was a lot of fun. I usually like when there's people like, we're gonna do a lot of combat today, and I'm like, okay. But I love role playing. So it was just the cinematic moments, the swashbuckling moments, all of the great moments were really cool. I really enjoyed how the newcomers to the group, right? We have the three that already know each other, but the newcomers to the group didn't have this crazy, wacky, zany, Looney Tunes-esque fall through the air at one point. Like, it's just all of us just like being absolutely ridiculous, and they're calm and collected, dealing with it, and we're just like,
I need to haze
meanwhile,
you.
cut to
I
us.
need to haze
It's
you.
so
It's
good.
important.
It was so
I will
great.
also say that I'm a big fan. I like to DM, like in a game where it's like a classic D&D game. I like to make sure it's very rules specific. But because we're in a homebrew world, we can do what we want. And I like being able to go more cinematic and go, no, let's take that bit and make this ridiculously fun, crazy, cool, stupid scene happen. Let's make it happen. I really like that.
Yeah,
When I get the
I'm
chance
all
to.
for it. Yeah, I loved it. Thank you so much for it. It was a lot of fun, and that was terrifying, and we've learned so much about it. So that was sick. Thank you for that. My name is Mythematic,
Thank
or
you for-
Cord. Go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to say thank you. Thank you for grabbing the rope with your mouth, not your hand. That was a very good choice.
Yes.
I admired that.
Yes. if nothing more, when you're thinking about role playing out there, that's it. Grab the rope with your mouth, not your hand.
Grab the mouth.
That's all I have
Grab
to
the
say.
mouth.
Grab the mouth with your rope,
Grab the
not your
mouth.
hand. Anyway, I'm Mythematic, or Cord. I am the producer here, also a voice actor and streamer on Twitch. You can follow me on Twitter as well to find out where I am. I am also on Table Stories Gone, so we saw that earlier in the beginning of the show as well. That's something I'm a part of. Check me out, or don't, whatever. I'll be here every time you come and watch. So that's me. Thank you. That's it.
Don.
How was that? Was that good?
Donnie Don. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a blast. I also enjoyed all the cinematic stuff with the combat, with the Silt Horror. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very, at moments, it was like very Pirates of the Caribbean, but because we're all in different places, it was really cool to see the bounce back and forth between the people who are below decks and the people who are flying. Rysar being on the other ship, trying to commit a murder. All the different elements I thought came together really well. I enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it, and I'm
nice.
digging the mystery, like figuring out more about the mystery of what exactly we've signed up for together. I think that's super cool, and I love everybody's characters so much, and I know that there's so much more to figure out, to learn about everybody's characters, and it's coming out like in little bits at a time, which is my favorite thing. I love that so much.
And you
I just
got
had a
your
lot of fun.
crazy dirty combat. You got that crazy dirty combat that you wanted. You
I
got to
did.
literally stand in a Silt
did.
Horror's mouth and give it a scar that it will forever bear.
Yeah, it worked out
amazing.
so well. And
It
so
hates you
thank you,
now.
role
It hates
playing.
you now.
Good. I like to make Nemesis. I like to make Nemesis wherever I go. That's always my goal. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I loved it. I can't wait to see what comes next. And as far as what I'm up to, where you can find me, I'm the creative director here at LFM Network. You can follow me on my personal Twitter at Donathan Fry, where I post about the things that I write, the publishers I work with, and all of the other streaming things that I do for LFM and elsewhere. I'm really excited about the new season. We have so many great shows right now for people to check out. So if this is your first time here, please check out our other shows. They're all fantastic as well. I am the DM for our sister series here, also in Dark Sun, Journey to the Obsidian Spire on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And even though it's the same story, and Chris and I are working on this like integrated plot, it's very, very different. They're both totally different vibes, which is a ton of fun. So if you enjoyed this, check that one out and check out our other shows as well, because we get, thankfully, to work with a lot of amazing, talented storytellers, and we always have a ton of fun here.
Definitely. Always check out more of the LFM content. Thank you, Don. And Bree, Keita, thrown in the deep end after an episode of not knowing where you were.
Yeah. Luckily, it wasn't anything too complicated or anything, but I can slowly start to feel Kita's reserves kind of melting away as she's starting to see the personalities of everyone. And I just really liked, especially with this session, everyone had their shining moment, no matter how silly or no matter how, serious it was, everyone had a moment.
Yeah.
But right now she's starting to get a little bit anxious because she is awaiting the moment that she's possibly going to see where she came from. If that's going to happen, if it's not going to happen, she doesn't know. So, But yeah, I had a lot of fun this session,
I'm
definitely.
glad.
But yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at burrito with 3 E's _. I do a lot of TTRPG stuff like this, and I play a lot of sessions. And I'm actually having a merch line right now that's been going since, I want to say February or March. It's called Here to Stay, and basically all of the proceeds that go towards this merchandise line goes towards creators of color in the TTRPG community and nerd communities. So I'm doing that, and also I'm an affiliate for Swords Fall RPG. So if you go on the shop and you use my code burrito with 3 E's, you get 10% off of purchases and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just chilling.
You do so much cool stuff. You do
trying.
so much cool stuff. No, that's great. Thank you. Cool. Leaves for me to tie up. I'm Chris. You can find me at Chris Hislop, which is me. When I'm not working with LFM on amazing shows like this, and thank you again, Don, for the wonderful opportunity to tell these crazy stories with all of these wonderful people. You can find me at Adventurers Wanted. That's Adventurers 250 on Twitter, but Adventurers Wanted basically everywhere. We stream D&D Monday evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. BST, which is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. PT. Yeah, you can find us every Monday. We've got loads of new shows working on. Really, really excited for the new one coming out very, very shortly. So do check us out there. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. Otherwise, I'll ramble on. But yes, thank you again, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you
and
all.
thank you to our sponsors. Yeah, Dark Dice, Level Up Dice, and Wormwood Gaming. Couldn't do anything without your support as well. I think that's it from me. Thank you again, everyone, and catch you all next time. See you all soon.